What up, what up, what up? Happy New Year and all of that. We got the yes, we are in the building. Mike D on this side, Coop on the other side. How you doing today, sir?
Doing great.
I
Uh,
see you got the cigar. So we got a celebration.
well, I believe living life for another year is a celebration,
There it is.
and uh, and I don't want this Cuban cigar to get old. So I
There
figured
it
for our first
is.
show of the year, I break out my last Cuban for the first show, puff a little something, talk a little something. Uh, I got some notes I told you I wanted to share, but first I think we should start out with shouting out the Fresh Out Hip Hop Podcast because apparently we just got named Best Hip Hop Podcast according to their podcast.
Yeah, thumbs up in the chat. Thumbs up in the chat. Let me go ahead and put the graphic up there. Yeah, when I saw this on Twitter, shout out to Fresh Out Hip Hop. They said the winner is, according to Hip Hop, for our best hip hop podcast of 2023. We won 41.8% of the vote over Drink Champs, $1 million worth of game, and more. The people were asked, do they agree? And I didn't go through those comments, but shout out to Fresh Out because stuff like that really makes the hard work feel worth it. I know everybody just pretty much sees when Coop and I get on camera. They don't really see the behind the scenes, everything that we got going on in life and, things like that. But when we get here, it's like we're right here with the people, with our hip hop audience, and we're engaging. And I think we have a very, very unique platform and how we do the show. We give it to the people, and they get to actually hear our banter at the same time. So yeah, to see the people are enjoying it to that degree, it means a lot. We really appreciate it. I can't say that enough, man. This came from just phone conversations to a real thing, to the point where people are checking in every single week, 2 times a week, shouting us out on the streets. It's a beautiful thing, man. Thumbs up in the chat. Thumbs up in the chat.
I agree. It's I was very humbled by it. In all honesty, it was very like humbling to like see that we actually won, and won not by like a large margin, but I mean, we took almost half the vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's very humbling to see the hard work pay off. Uh, I didn't know that we would kind of like at this stage in the game as we start 2024. A lot of people look at us like OGs in the game now,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah. It's crazy how fast that happens, right?
yeah, it's crazy how fast
We
that
were just
happens. It
new.
makes me actually think about the Kanye bar on "Touch the Sky." Now
Hey.
he like, damn dog, you where I am, a hip hop legend. I think I died in an accident because this must be heaven.
It happens quick, man. It happens quick. But, like I said, I know it sounds cliche, but we couldn't do it without the people. Like, a large part of our show is how y'all come in here, get in the chat, go back and forth, bring up random topics in the super chat, and you know what I'm saying? Continuously engage, get in the polls. Like, we are one with the audience, and it's live. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we say something wrong, we got to retract it in that moment or on the next episode. Because I know I've said a lot of misinformation, I'm sure, on live on live band waves or broadcast rather.
Well, that's another thing too. I don't think people realize is that. Do you remember? I mean, I know you remember this. You remember the show Rock that used to come on
Yeah.
before in Living Color?
Yep.
Do you remember
Live
when they did
studio
their
audience.
live season?
Yep.
You know, we were younger, and it took me being older to realize those were all classically trained actors,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes years of experience to be able to go live. And so, I think one of the most difficult things that we actually do, and where we actually have gotten above the fray and great at, most of our competition, quote unquote, does pre-recorded shows.
Right.
So the way that their shit is put together is a lot of cut, copy, paste, and editing. We are the unfiltered, the raw, and the real in that regard. And I take pride in how over the years we've gotten better at doing the live show because I think our live show is comparable to a lot of these pre-recorded shows that have larger followings than us, quite frankly.
I think so too, and I think that there's a energy that live shows like ours has that you just can't duplicate with pre-recorded stuff. Like when Mad Max comes in the chat saying the stuff that he says, and
The
Jay
ridiculous stuff
Short.
that he says. The ridiculous stuff that he says.
Man, I can't believe I got blown out like that when we talking about the Dr. Dre and Kanye thing. Not to switch topics or anything, but yeah, those things organically happen. Even when we did our Michael Jackson and Prince matchup, that happened from just a conversation that was going on during a show.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing to actually see show topics turn into something else and turn into something else and then just build up into a whole station head. Is the Tupac and Biggie next? Are we still interested in that, or is there something else to do?
I mean, we can do it. Here's how competitive I am. Shout out to one of our followers, L Boogs. Boogs put the thread up that says, make a GOAT album using 10 tracks from who you think is the greatest.
Yeah, I wanted to actually bring that
over
into the
20,000
fold
views.
today. I want to bring that into the fold today.
Yeah. I did a Tupac list just because everybody was doing a Nas list so much. I did a Tupac list, but one person did a Michael Jackson list, and I'm so inherently competitive, Mike, that it's like, yeah, I'm doing my Prince list tonight. But I'm not about to let it happen. He put the little Michael Jackson meme up. I was like, oh, no. I was like, we're not doing that. Prince list coming tonight.
I need to check out that Michael Jackson list. Let me see if I co-sign that. Because
Purple Rain forever.
I am the self-proclaimed Michael Jackson know-it-all. I mean, we didn't write anything down that night when we did our verses or our song for song matchup on Station Head. And we actually just planned it hours before that. It was going off the top, man. I didn't need to write anything down. And usually when we do these song matchups, you got to write stuff down to check off things, make sure you don't leave out anything. But with this one, nah.
I will tell you, you are the most knowledgeable Michael Jackson fan that I know. I will give you that. I can't think of anybody that I know that knows more about Mike than you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Because every time some information comes out about Mike, you're usually the one that gives it to me first before I can even like get it filtered through somebody else.
I was like collecting his demos back in the early 2000s, like when Napster was coming around. Crazy. You know what? Side note though.
But I'm that way about Prince. It's like,
of course.
when I worked at Manifest, it's like I found out it's like, oh, he was part of a band called he's had a few bands. 94 East is the original Prince band, so I'm kind of like I've been like ahead since day one.
Yeah, it's a lot when it comes to those guys' careers. It's I mean, I wish we had some other guys coming in the door that could rival that, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
You can let that shit go, my G. That is never going to happen.
You don't think we're ever going to get another Michael, Prince, Stevie, James, or somebody to that magnitude? Thumbs up in the chat, y'all.
I don't.
It's hard to think that we would.
The closest person has been R. Kelly, and he's not close enough, in my opinion.
Nah, he's not. Who would you compare R. Kelly to more musically, of course? Is he more Stevie musically or more Marvin?
More Marvin.
That's what I was thinking too.
But he's not Marvin though. He's got more quote unquote big songs than Marvin, but he doesn't make you feel the way Marvin makes you feel, and that matters.
I Believe I Could Fly came on the other day. I'm like, this is a great song.
Yeah, but it's not fucking with Inner City Blues. That's what I'm saying. He don't make you feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't have a What's Going On album.
Yeah. He doesn't have an album like that. What's Going On, the album is like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's a top 10 album ever in all genres. When you factor in when it was made and all those things.
Yes. Culturally iconic album. Unfuckwittable.
This is one of the things that Coop and I were actually kind of thinking about starting the show off with, because I know some people were saying they were having issues with the super chats coming through. We were thinking that we could probably get some pre-super chats from the audience. Y'all hit us on the Cash App and then email us at info@accordingtohiphop.com so that we could get your topics into the opening of the show in kind of a way where people can kind of guide the opening. I know we start off with the sports opening, And I know you had some things to say about Lamar.
I do. Actually,
I thought that's what the cigar was for, actually.
Oh, well, while we're here, Mike, I believe that when the NFL season started, somebody said that Lamar Jackson was going to win MVP before the season started. I believe he's sitting here right now in a pink hoodie.
Yeah, you said that.
I believe I said that the Ravens were going to the Super Bowl before the season started.
You did. You did.
And I told you that he was going to make people regret the foolish behavior that they just exhibited by colluding to not sign this man when he wanted another contract. Now, how the fuck do these NFL teams look now?
You know, I thought that was just so primitive and backwards. Like, you're telling me that he plays a position at an elite level, a top 5 level, that 20 guys in this world can't do. Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, if we want to be whatever. But on a good, bad day, whatever, he plays this position that they say is the hardest position in all of sports at a top 3, top 5 level. And you're telling me you're not going to give him what he earned because he doesn't have an agent and people are okay with this? Like, that was the problem with me. Like, people were sitting there like, man, why don't he just go get an agent? I'm like, to do what? He actually did the work. And y'all allowed him to sign without an agent the first time. So you already played yourself.
So Mike, how do the New York Giants look for not going to go get Lamar Jackson? The Las Vegas Raiders,
the Atlanta
the
Falcons,
Washington Commanders, the New Orleans Saints, the Denver Broncos. You want me to keep going?
The Atlanta Falcons,
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Everybody.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Everybody. But again, like you said, it's colluding. It reeks of Barry Bonds not being able to retire while in his final season hitting what was it, like 30 home runs and having more walks than everybody in the league and nobody picked him up.
And I believe he batted 373 or 350 something that season.
It was something, yeah. I'm gonna have to go fact check that, but yeah,
I believe he batted like 349 that season, which is absurd, by the way.
But
People
you know what?
349.
Speaking of colluding, and we'll get back to Lamar Jackson, I don't want you to lose your train of thought. The Detroit Pistons losing all of these games in a row, and you got somebody like Dwight Howard putting out a roster of Dwight Howard, Cousins, John Wall, you get those guys and you won't lose that many games in a row. What is it, like 17?
I mean, just off Boogie's post game, Boogie's still good enough, like 1 every 5 games, that he can probably win you a game just off his post game.
And you're telling me these guys aren't good enough to be in this league where there's a team that's losing like 20 games in a row? Come on, man. That's what they want us to believe.
So, to my Lamar talk, I know a lot of people feel like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback of this generation. And I would tell you, not so fast. First of all, Lamar Jackson's about to win MVP for the second time. He's probably about to win it unanimously. Only 2 people have won MVP unanimously already. You know who their names are? Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. He's probably about to win it unanimously again. Mike, do you know how many people have won 2 MVPs before the age of 26? Because when Lamar Jackson wins his second MVP, he'll be the first person to win 2 MVPs before the age of 26. Do you know he's about to win MVP without a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard rusher?
He doesn't have a Kelsey over there.
He doesn't have a Kelsey, and this is no disrespect to John Harbaugh. People forget this. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid might be the best offensive mind of this generation.
Right. So there's a lot of help over there.
Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and had Andy Reid. Okay? That's what he got bought into. This is very comparable to when people thought Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady early on until Tom started getting some hitters.
Right. Well, he's going to have to win a championship, though, for this to be a conversation.
He's got to close the deal, but I just want to throw some numbers out. First of all, you know what Patrick Mahomes' career completion percentage is?
What's that?
66. You know what Lamar's is?
Well, 67?
65. He's right there.
Okay.
So for people that think that Mahomes is just this better passer than Lamar Jackson, it's not reflected in the accuracy, which quote unquote is what Lamar struggles with. Mike, this man has, for his career, almost 16,000 passing yards with 125 passing touchdowns and over 5,000 rushing yards with almost 30 rushing touchdowns.
Jeez.
This is in 86 games played. Now, here's the thing. Mahomes has played 10 more games. He's played 96 to Lamar's 86. Now, Patrick has 28,000 yards passing, but most of that is because he had Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And he has 2,000 yards rushing. So I would say that he is a better thrower of the ball, but like I said, now that he doesn't have Tyreek Hill, how does that really look? Now that Lamar has a couple hitters, and let's not get it twisted, Zay Flowers is no Tyreek Hill. And Mark Andrews is hurt right now, and he's doing this. His best weapon is hurt right now, and he's doing this. Do you think that Mahomes would ball like this if Kelce got hurt? Because guess what?
We've seen
He's got Kelce right now, and he's not balling like this.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's stop. So what I'm saying is that everybody running around making it seem like Mahomes is going down as the greatest quarterback of all time. He may not even end up being the best player of this generation if Lamar keeps at this rate. Because Lamar has finally got the game figured out, and they finally gave him some quality receivers, and this race is closer than what people think.
Hold on. Mad Max got a super chat here. He says, Mahomes is the best quarterback of his generation. Burrow is better than Lamar as well. I've never seen Lamar play good in a single postseason game. Stop.
First of all, I'll give you this. The Holy Trinity right now is Mahomes, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. And of the three, Lamar has the worst playoff resume. And listen to what I'm about to say. That's all about the fucking change this year. First of all, people, and this is what I mean about the collusion part, and shame on you, Mad Max.
Shame on you, Mad Max.
No, listen to this. Joe Burrow been hurt more than Lamar Jackson. What was everybody talking about when they didn't want to sign Lamar? He gets hurt too much.
Right.
What about Burrow?
They used his quote-unquote injuries as an excuse to why they didn't want to sign him for what he earned because he didn't have an agent or whatever.
He just too black for BET. That's all that shit is. Because Burrow ass is hurt. Burrow has pretty much missed 2 full seasons of football. We getting on Lamar for missing the last 4 games of 2 straight seasons. Okay?
That's fair.
Now, and here's why I'm saying it's still a race. You know why it's still a race? Because when Mad Max is talking about those big games, let's look at Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl resume.
Hold on. Mad Max says Mahomes won on a bum knee with Tyreek. Stop. Lamar got to play good in the postseason.
First of all, I'm not saying that Mahomes isn't in first place. What I'm saying is there's about to be a transition. First of all, they're both about to have 2 MVPs. Okay? Lamar got a unanimous MVP that Mahomes don't have. Okay?
Mahomes got 2, right?
Straight out the way. Yeah, Mahomes has 2 MVPs already.
Yeah, and he got 2 Super Bowls.
He won in 2018. Lamar won in 2019. Then Mahomes won, and then Aaron Rodgers won too. So only 3 guys have won MVP in the last 6 years, and it's all 3 quarterbacks. Even though Aaron Rodgers robbed Tom Brady of one of those MVPs, where Tom Brady came in second. But that's neither here nor there. But listen to what I'm saying. When you want to talk about big games, what's the biggest game? It's the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
So let's see. Patrick Mahomes' career quarterback rating is 103. Mike, do you know what it is in the Super Bowl?
What's that?
79.
That's a big drop-off.
Mike, I just said his career completion percentage during the regular season is 66%. You know what it is in the Super Bowl? 61.
It's not too bad of a drop-off, but yeah.
It's 5%, Mike. A 5% drop-off matters. Mike, in 3 Super Bowl games, this man has thrown 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I told you he hasn't played well in a Super Bowl yet. And if Jimmy Garoppolo knew how to throw a fucking ball, and if Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble a ball, he's 0-3 in the Super Bowl, not 2-1. I don't give a shit what anybody says. So this is still a race because I expect Lamar Jackson to run through the league and run and go grab this Super Bowl MVP this year. And then it'll be 2 MVPs to 2 MVPs and 1 Super Bowl ring to 2 and game on, motherfucker. Because Lamar is about to throw 4 interceptions in the Super Bowl. game on.
You're
It's
calling
game on.
it.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Mahomes doesn't hold the mantle, but keep in mind, until 2007, till Randy Moss trotted his ass to Foxborough, Peyton Manning was considered to be the best quarterback in football.
That's true. That's true.
And then Tom Brady got Randy Moss, and then all that Peyton Manning talk got a little quieter and quieter. And by 2012, it was Tom.
Yeah, Tom Brady had that killer season, went down the next season, and then came back as Tom Brady again, even after Moss was gone. Now, I think he had Gronk and Hernandez at that point, but still.
That's when Gronk and Hernandez come in 2010, so
Okay.
that was 2 years removed from Randy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because he was out that year where, when Randy left. Though.
Yes.
So yeah, that his first year back, he had Gronk and Hernandez, right?
But don't crown Mahomes just yet. I don't crown nobody that got a 5-4 touchdown to interception ratio in the Super Bowl, which is the biggest game. And this is what I'm saying about why I'm bringing up the Super Bowl numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what Patrick Mahomes looks like in the playoffs in the AFC without being in Kansas City. The man has not played one playoff game outside of Kansas City. You understand that? The only neutral field games he's played have been in the Super Bowl, and he's played shitty in all 3 of those games.
That's kind of scary.
Talk to me after he has to take his ass on the road this season. Now, Lamar's lost 2 home playoff games. I'll give him that, and that's why I'm giving it to Mahomes. But it's conversational, Mike, and let's see what Mahomes does. Like, what I really want to happen is I want Kansas City to go on a run and have to go to Baltimore. And let's see.
Mad Max with the super chat says Joe Burrow walked into people's home field and sends them home. LJ never did that. Now I will say, out of the 3, if I'm going to somebody else's house, give me Joe Burrow.
No, Burrow's better than Mahomes is in the playoffs.
He is, even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl, so that's hard to prove. But I know what you mean.
Right, and Burrow didn't play great in his Super Bowl either, and that's what I'm saying. No, if I'm ranking it, I'm going Mahomes, Lamar, and then Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow's been the best of the 3 in the playoffs because Burrow went to Kansas City and whooped Mahomes' ass. Mahomes got 3 playoff losses. 2 were by Tom Brady. 1 is by Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not taking anything away from Joe, but here's the reality of the matter, Mike. What's the best ability?
Availability.
Right, and he's been more hurt than Lamar, and Lamar about to hang 2 MVPs up.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see. Mall 7 with the super chat says never bought into Mahomes' GOAT talk. He definitely can't be now because he's having a down year in his prime. Peyton and Brady would never. It's true.
Like, how about this? Does 27 touchdowns to 14 interceptions sound like GOAT talk to you? Because that's what's going on right now.
Not in the prime of his career, no.
But the type of weapons that he has are the type of weapons Lamar has had his whole career. Lamar won an MVP without anybody like Travis Kelce on his team, a unanimous one.
Yeah, true.
Lamar has 821 rushing yards right now.
Wow, that's crazy.
He doesn't even run the ball like that anymore, Mike.
Right. They told him that he was going to be a running quarterback because he was fast. Like, when I seen him in Louisville, it gave me, Vic and Virginia Tech vibes. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that he was going.
But yes.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be that running quarterback because he was outrunning everybody. But he could just sit in the pocket and throw. And that's dangerous.
Well, right now, he's literally using his legs to shred defenses. Like, there are plays. If you watch the Ravens play, there are plays every single game, Mike, about 5 to 10 plays, where he could go scramble for 10 to 20 yards, and he stays to make the throw. And because the threat of his legs is so frightening to people that now he's taking advantage of it on the other side. He's got this game mastered right now, and he's the best quarterback in the league right now. And that's what Josh Allen and Burrow and all those guys, like, he that dude right now. He is that dude, and I expect him to go out and prove that he's that dude, because here's what I won't want to hear. If he wins his second unanimous MVP, he'll be the only person to win unanimous MVP twice. He'll be the first person to win MVP twice before 26. And he goes and caps it off with a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. I don't want to hear this Mahomes best quarterback of the generation talk, because we got a conversation that we need to have if Lamar goes out and does this. And I told you when the season started he was going to do this. He was going to go scorch the earth for how they treated this man, because it's ridiculous how they treated this man.
And I'm glad he is. I'm rooting for him. Jay Short with the super chat. Shout out to Jay Short. Welcome into the room and Happy New Year to you, brother. He said, I'm old enough to remember when Elway and Marino kept falling into the kept falling in the playoffs, failing in the playoffs. Peyton Manning, too. Lamar has only played in 3 postseasons. Let's give him time before we start making conclusions. You know, you're right. And there was a lot of people whose game would fall off in the playoffs. Peyton Manning was notorious for that. I think what has happened, Tom Brady has kind of changed the trajectory of playoff, just not just the momentum, but expectations from superstar quarterbacks. It's kind of like Michael Jordan, right? People start, measuring you by that degree. But yeah, the playoffs are hard. You're not supposed to go in there and succeed in the NFL playoffs. That's why those numbers you read off of Mahomes in the Super Bowl, that's why they look like the way they do. Because it's hard.
It is. All I'm saying is that let's see what Mahomes look like when he has to go on the road.
Tater Tot 60, not 60, 00 with a super chat. He says, Justice League deserves respect for their beats. Take time. What do you think Justice League's best production job is? Not like an album, but song.
Did they do Santorini, Greece?
They may have.
If they did Santorini, Greece, that's it.
I got to look that
Amsterdam,
up.
Or Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is tough. Now I'm with you on that.
16.
I like 16. I like
Amsterdam's better to me, but yeah.
Yeah, Amsterdam's the one on that album for me.
Amsterdam and Santorini, Greece are my favorite Ross songs, I think. But yeah, Dice Pineapples, like they got a bunch of heat. They're kind of like the track masters of this era.
They did 10 Jesus Pieces, right?
Ooh, 10 Jesus Pieces with Stolly.
That shit's beautiful.
That shit gorgeous.
Glorious. Fire.
Yeah. I would pick Santorini, Greece if they did Santorini, Greece.
007.
Santorini, Greece. I thought about it when I listened to Santorini, Greece. I'm not sure that's not in the conversation for best beats ever. Definitely of this era. Santorini, Greece is like that.
Where the Runners at, man? Because you remember when the Runners was like super hot. And I only mention that because we're talking about Ross. And I remember hearing Hustlin', the beat. And I was like, yo, this beat is crazy. I hear that T.I. turned down that beat, which is wild. But, again, you know how much I rant and rave about T.I. in his career. I think T.I. is incredible, probably the most versatile MC we've ever had down here. But I don't think T.I. is that great of a beat picker. I don't. But Ross, he picks up that slack. And I don't know why people don't work with the Runners anymore. Do they even make beats anymore? Like, could somebody in the chat let us know where the Runners at?
That's fair.
Because their shit, because you love Money on My Mind, too. I love that record, too. The Runners shit.
Who did Money on My Mind? The Runners did Money on My Mind?
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite Wayne song.
Yeah, the Runners were tough, man.
That beat crazy, Mike. Like, every time I play that shit in the system, I'm like, man.
Yeah, the Runners beats was hard. 007 with the super chat says, back from Geneva. First episode, I peeped your A2HH with another year in the podcast game to spit ether. Cheers to another year of unbiased hip-hop coverage. I appreciate that. Love 007, always in the building. Welcome back home. Welcome back to Queens. Mom7 with the super chat says, also, this era is easier to play quarterback in. No excuses. Is this the easiest era?
Hold on. Well, that's just like the NBA right now. It's easier to score than it's ever been. Like Michael Jordan would average 50 right now. Kobe would average 45 to 50 right now.
People think we're just talking when we say that kind of stuff, but Michael Jordan actually averaged 37 points in a season.
If Michael Jordan was playing in this league today, he would average 50 points a game. No hand checking, no clotheslining a nigga.
Specifically, the Michael Jordan that averaged 37 in a season. That Jordan right there, what was that, 87? That Jordan will probably average 42 in this game.
Yeah, like how about this? Michael Jordan before Scottie Pippen became an all-star, which is pretty much like 84 to 90. That nigga averaging 50. Like, Mike, his rookie season, he averaged 28 points a game.
Because he was just on the attack. He was just going to the cup, and there's nobody. He was just
going to the rack.
There's nobody in the league.
Like, you can't stop me.
Yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah.
They had a hand-checking league where they didn't call personal fouls the same way, and this nigga was busting 30, 35, 37 for a season. And you're telling me the way these rules are set up now? Oh, no.
In a league where there were
20 free throws a game, you go 18 for 20 every game.
In a league where there were actual credible big
He's going
men.
to average 50.
In a league where there were actual
Average
credible
50.
big men in the paint too. Like you had the Ewans down there, you had Olajuwon down there, you had Tree Rollins down there. Every team
Moses Malone,
had a legit
David
big
Robinson,
man.
Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
Mark Eaton, who was a great defensive player for the Utah Jazz. Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, I've seen a play of him dunking on him. I mean, yeah.
Everybody getting dunked on.
He would have did.
Everybody getting dunked on.
He would have did everybody in this league dirty. Who would have stopped?
Mutombo.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah.
He played against real hitters.
Yeah.
Embiid, Jokic, Anthony Davis, Cat. They getting yammed on.
Yeah.
Regularly by Mike.
Yeah.
Regularly.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "Coop, slow down. You're making them uncomfortable. Lamar is too dark skinned and don't look quarterbacky enough to be crowned as the GOAT of this era."
Can I tell you what this does have something to do with and why I'm riding for Lamar like this though? It's because Patrick Mahomes talks like an affluent, black male who comes from a mixed background. That's very personable, very affable.
He has a country accent, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's very refined. His he's mixed. He grew up in an affluent environment. I mean, his father was a major league pitcher, for God's sake. So he grew up with Priv. He grew up with the Priv, Pull Up a Cup. Shout out to the brothers that got to give their kids some Priv. Yeah. I love that for him. But he is a little bit more of what the NFL would like to see their prominent player be. And Lamar talk like, you know what I'm saying? Lamar talk like he's from the Jets because he is. And he's uncompromising about that.
Yeah.
And
he did it his way.
Do-rags and the hat be to the side. You know what I'm saying? And when he speaks like he's the underdog all the time because he is. These sorry-ass white analysts tried to tell us that this man needed to move the wide receiver when he got drafted.
They said that.
Every person that said that should be fired and never allowed to work in the NFL again. It's literally the most egregious shit I've ever seen.
They should do that. You know what? I think that people need to go back on what they've said. And like we've done on this show, I get constantly reminded of our earlier shows when we were saying certain things about J. Cole. And a lot of the things didn't change as far as the projects go, as far as the albums go. But the way he's rapping, the level that he's rapping, we have to go back and say, you know what? We got to give J. Cole his props. We were wrong. He is the guy in this generation. It ain't Kendrick.
Yeah, he that dude.
Yeah. I mean, Kendrick got the albums, granted. And
how about this? He's inspiring the type of fear that makes you think about rapping on a song with him. And that's hard to do.
We haven't seen that in a long time.
Right. That's what I mean. I haven't seen nobody like this scary on the mic like that in a minute where it's like, I don't know if you should do that, fam. Like
Rakim was one of those
he said
guys.
On the he said it on the verse of the year for 2023. Rhyming with me is the biggest mistake.
Yeah. I mean, Rakim was somebody like that, but he didn't do features like that. Cannabis had his time too, where he would get on the record and just, go for like 40 bars, but that's a little different too. I'm trying to think of the last time somebody was really doing.
How about this?
Was it Wayne? I don't know.
No,
it's not the same.
Here's what Cole is doing that's so special. These songs are dope, not just his verses. He is still fitting into the framework of the song in doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just that his verse is dope. It's like, no, the records he's jumping on are fire. Johnny P's Caddy is fire. First Person Shooter is fire.
It's versatile too, man. He's showing everything that he has in the bag.
Different delivery, different cadences, flows, patterns, styles, bar work, excellent. The Fall Off should be the most anticipated project this year.
Oh, it is. I can't wait until we cover it. It's. I don't feel like we've had, other than the Magic series last year, I don't think we had like a highly anticipated effort that I'm like, I can't wait until we go in there and talk about this album. And with Nas and Hit, like Nas and Hit have just been spoiling us over the duration of this show, I guess I could say, because it started in 2020. So it almost like they don't really count in that way because they're stupid consistent, and it's a main event whenever they come together. But I want somebody else to bring that energy too, and J. Cole's the guy. I'm looking forward to covering this album.
Well, here's what I would tell you, Mike. In a lot of ways, this is more exciting than the Nas and Hit pairing because Cole is of this generation. And as far as this generation is concerned, see, like the Nas and Hit thing is kind of like a revival. It reminds us, elder statesmen in hip-hop on the media side, in the game, MC-wise, what hip-hop is really supposed to look and feel like. And that's a beautiful thing for Nas and Hit to revive that feeling. J. Cole is still very much right now.
Yeah.
And so the anticipation for this, listen to what I'm saying. No, like there wasn't probably a shit ton of 20-year-olds that was anticipating the Nas Hit project.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't the case with Cole. And so this moment right now is actually, for him, in my opinion, just because of where he is in the game, as in he is of this generation, like most people are familiar with Cole from the last 10 years as opposed to Nas, which is the last 30.
Right.
And therefore, about the relevancy and the age brackets that he's going to pull in, this is it, Mike. This is the biggest moment because the other big moment came from Kendrick with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yep. I was going to say that.
And he stepped in some dog shit when he made that.
Well, he needs to drop an album this year, too.
No, he doesn't. He needs to stay away and let Cole have his moment. Nobody want to hear. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear Cole.
You don't think
right
he's
going
to recover from this? I think he is. I think he hears the talk out there. I think
you're the one that told me he may not recover from this.
I hope he does. I don't think he will, but he can. I think he's going to try. How about that? Because I don't think he's going to go in the same vein. You know what I mean?
Like, this is here's where it is like Wayne. This is very Carter 3 like the anticipation for J. Cole's The Fall Off.
You know.
It's not Doggy Style or Get Rich or Die Trying level because those are debuts. But the last time that I seen an artist where the anticipation was so sincere was Wayne for the Carter 3.
Yeah, because it was based on other things. Yeah.
From the Carter 2 on, he just
dedication to. Yep.
Yeah. He just blistered it. And it's like by the time it came out, and here's what I don't want to happen, though. I don't want a Carter 3, though. I want a Carter 2 because I don't care what people say. The Carter 2, even when I go back and listen to it, it's like, no, that's his shit. That's the best album Wayne ever made.
I agree.
And I want to hear the best album J. Cole ever made, and I think we're about to get it. That's what's crazy about it. Because also, too, rappers don't make the best album of their career in like year 15, and I think he's about to. And I think that's GOAT talk when you do that. As in, you deserve to be Common in the conversation.
Common might be the only person I can think of like that.
It was only like that's what I'm saying, Mike, not year 15. Like Cole been around for almost 15 now. It's like when Common made, first of all, there are a lot of people who still feel like Water for Chocolate is his best album. And you have to understand that.
Yeah.
So that's
I
9
disagree,
years in.
but yeah.
Like, how about this? J. Cole doesn't have a Water for Chocolate, in my opinion. Like, Forest Hills Drive's not better than Water for Chocolate.
It's not.
So that's what I'm saying is like Common had already made something that you considered to be his magnum within a 10-year period.
I remember, and shout out to my man Damaris up there in Chicago, man. Our freshman year at Alabama State. When I got there, I was 3,000 out. He was Commoned out, right? And this is before B. This is right after Water for Chocolate. I don't know if he's changed his stance, but he was always a One Day It'll All Make Sense. It's Common's best album. Then he went to Resurrection, and then he went to Water for Chocolate. And this is while Water for Chocolate was still fresh. Ghetto Heaven was on TV at that time.
How about this? I'll tell you this. As a fan of Resurrection and One Day It'll All Make Sense, I understand why he feels that way.
Yeah.
Some of Common's best bar work is on One Day It'll All Make Sense. Invocation, Real Nigga Quotes, Hungry. Gaining One's Definition with CeeLo, Stolen Memories, part 1 and 2 with Q-Tip and Thought doing the hook. Nah, Retrospect for Life with Lauryn Hill. One day it all makes sense. Got
Make
some
a
shit.
name for
Resurrection
ourselves with cannabis.
yeah. Resurrection got Watermelon. The song where he talks about his drinking problem. I can't remember the name of it offhand.
I Used to Love Us on there.
I Used to Love Her, of course. Yeah, like no. So that's why I'm saying like Common had been making high level. Common had been making high level shit. He just came from Chicago in a time where literally it was like East Coast, West Coast, and Outkast.
Yep. Tater Top to the super chat says Justice League's top beats are Paris Morton Music and Maybach Music 4. Love the Justice League love we're getting here. Jay Short with the super chat says, I get what you guys are saying from a mainstream perspective, but if Benny's project is better than the Fall Off, are we gonna have another conversation about who is actually the guy in this era? Well, you know what? I think that's fair. And I'm looking forward to talking about Benny's album too. I mean, I think there's been pushed back so many times that we're just kind of waiting to see it come out. But yeah, I think we need to do a station head on that too.
I mean, I fuck with Benny.
Yeah.
In all respect to Benny, you got to be the best nigga in your crew first.
Well, you know,
you got to be the best nigga in your crew
I used
first.
to fight you on that, but Conway's that dude. Yeah.
So I'm going to need him to supersede Conway before y'all have a J. Cole conversation.
Michael Williams in the super chat says...
So how about this? For me, the Benny album is his opportunity to supersede Conway. And then after he does that, if he does that, then we can have a J. Cole, Kendrick, and like, like start at home. Start at home.
Yeah, he's rhyming with some great guys, though. Michael Williams with the super chat says, if Kendrick announced a new album and Jay announced a comeback album, would you be more confident in K-Dot or Jay having a dope project? That is a very good question. Do you want to start with that? Because
I think they both need to stay home.
No, but let's just say hypothetically.
So they don't disappoint
if they
us.
both drop, who do you have more faith in making the better album?
I feel like Mr. Morale was so poorly produced that I would take Jay because I think Jay would pick better beats.
I don't know what direction Jay is going to go at this point.
You don't know what direction Kendrick's going.
I think that Kendrick's made more quality work in a more recent time period. What we got with Jay is 444. We got Holy Grail. And we have, I guess, Blueprint 3, right? I feel like I'm missing something. Nah, Holy Grail is what it is. But yeah. So I don't really have that faith at this moment that Jay can give us a complete project. Now, with Kendrick, we got Damn in 2017. And I think that Kendrick, he can reach back. He can understand what people are saying. He can get in tune. Do you think it's an opportunity where Dr. Dre could step in and actually produce for Kendrick, or do you think that's just not going to happen?
I told you, that's the trump card that he's holding, and he need to play his spade right now. He need to play his spades right now.
You don't think they've worked on anything? See, that's the thing about Dre, and I don't want to get into this whole back and forth about that, but do we not think that Dre and Kendrick actually have made stuff, and maybe Dre's like, you know what, this ain't it?
First of all, Mike, you don't need to get into it, especially when Nicki Minaj is talking about a song that got made 3 fucking years ago from Kanye. And while this album has been delayed again,
it's not coming.
Ty Dolla $ign is literally, Ty Dolla $ign, one of the producers from the album is literally like, yeah, he's redoing stuff. And they're like, what stuff? They're like, all the stuff. I'm like, this album ain't never coming out.
You know what? I'm with you. And you know what? I'm gonna have to swap the spots. Dr. Dre's at number 1. Kanye's not putting out no music, man. Like, we gotta stop the pump faking Dre. Not Dre. We gotta stop the pump faking, Ye, because you ended up like the Dre's.
Mike, this is the third album. This is like the third or fourth album that he shelved. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Like, he played around with Donda for years. It literally was like 3 years.
As soon as he went on a diatribe, Mike, I was like, yeah, we ain't getting no music.
Yeah. I kind of felt that way too. I was hoping because we saw a release date, and it was on the release date of Kid Cudi's album too. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe this can happen. But
He lied. He lied, Mike. He lied.
Man Max
All
in the
these niggas
super
lied.
chat says, Cole isn't this generation. He is the blogger era. That's like saying that Stillmatic Nas is part of the 50 era. This is the faceless era.
Hold on. Stillmatic Nas is part of the 50 era because 50 talked about it on Get Rich or Die Trying. If David could kill Goliath with a stone, I can go at Nas and Jigga, both for the throne. That's from Get Rich or Die Trying, right?
It is.
You want to know why 50 said that? Because they were still part of the era that he was operating in.
Yeah. And 50 always looked at those two guys as his peers. He never looked at them like how T.I. and Wayne look at Jay.
He didn't show them any reverence. He was out to crush them.
No. He's like, listen, my favorite rapper used to sing check out my melody. I'm not I'm one of your peers. I don't look up to you, I look at you. Leroy Green with the super chat says, what up, fellas, and congrats, but Cole been out a very long time, so what was stopping him from doing that album already? And Coop got my breath control back. I know you hear me cooking. More later. Leroy Green on the mic.
This is what I'm saying. You're part of an era when the music that you make is relevant and valid for that era. It doesn't matter when you came out. It matters if what you make is relative and relevant and comparable. So this is what I'm saying. Oh no, in 2012, Life is Good is the second best album that came out next to Good Kid, Mad City. That means he's still relevant and part of the era. Cole part of this era.
I think people look at it.
Ass on the microphone, Mike.
I think people look at it like where you actually debut. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you come out. Like let's just say Snoop Dogg in '93. That was his era, as opposed to Snoop Dogg still being around during Rhythm and Gangsta in like 05. You know what I mean? Same thing with LL. Well, I don't know. What is LL's era? I think the 80s.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You telling me Mr. Smith's not relevant in 95?
It's not. You know what? It's perfect time to pull out my vinyl.
Because here's the reality of the matter. It's like
in 95, you know.
Look, Lounging's not relevant.
It is.
Hey Lover's not relevant. I Shot Your remix not relevant.
But it ain't like when he hit you with On Bad Radio and Rock the Bells. You know what I mean?
Shit. When Michael Jackson dropped Bad, that's not like Off the Wall and Thriller, but that nigga's still relevant, right?
Yeah, he was pretty relevant.
Dangerous, Mike. Ain't he still relevant?
Yeah, he's still Michael Jackson.
Not fucking with Off the Wall or Thriller, though. See, people are looking at what people's peaks are and not looking at how they exist in the space. Cole is still right now, because guess what? He's assembled one of the best labels right now. He's got two verifiable stars in Ari and JID. Verse-wise, there's nobody out here fucking with him on a 16 to 24 bar basis.
Nope.
Doesn't that sound relevant to you? His last project was a 4, Mike. It's not like the last project was like the off-season wasn't whack. That was a 4 out of 5.
Let me get to these super chats, and I'm going to ask you a question about Cole's project that I don't think we've explored before. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, but Coop, that's not GOAT talk when it took you 15 years to finally make a great album when you haven't done it before. Also, what's up with your boy KD?
First of all, let's work in reverse.
You gonna start with KD?
KD is fine. What's wrong with the rest of the team? KD's averaging 30 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. He's shooting 55% from the floor. Mike, he's shooting 46% from 3. He's shooting 88% from the line. He's averaging a block and a steal a game. He's literally having one of his better seasons at age 35.
Do you think he should move?
Huh?
Do you think he should move to another team yet again?
I think he got to stop all the team moving and make it work, though.
Okay.
What I don't like, this was my fear for this team. Well, really what happened is this team's getting killed on the boards because they only have 2 people who can rebound the ball. And when Kevin Durant's your second best rebounder, you're not going to get enough rebounds. I'll be the first to tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
And so this team was constructed to score, but the 3 best players on the team have played a total of 4 games together. So what I would tell you is that I'll be a little bit more disturbed when those guys are about 20, 25 games in. And even with that being said, they're the 8 seed right now. And they're literally only 7 games or 8 games behind Minnesota, who's the 1 seed. This trend can be reversed if the guys will get on the court and play, but they need to go get some defense and rebounding. They got 3-and-D guys like Booker, Beal, and KD can go get you 25 to 35 to 40 on any given night. They just have to learn how to play together. And quite frankly, the main thing that's hurting this team, they should have kept Chris Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Because they need a real point guard. Because you know what's happened when this team went on this winning streak? KD took the ball out of Booker's hands and became the point guard and got 16 assists and then got 11 assists in back-to-back games because KD's actually the best facilitator on the team too. When your best scorer is your best facilitator,
that's not good.
It's usually not good unless your name's LeBron James.
Right. So what do you say
not
about...
Good unless your name's LeBron. Just being honest, and as much as I love KD, he's not LeBron. He's probably a better player than LeBron right now, not by much. And
LeBron just turned 39. Happy birthday,
how about
LeBron.
This? Let me rephrase that. When LeBron's the best facilitator on your team, LeBron's an all-time great passer.
Right.
KD is not an all-time great passer. When Kevin Durant's the best facilitator on your team, you need to go get a fucking point guard.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you say about Cole not having a great album in 15 years?
That is just disrespectful, Mike. You know that fucking what's the shit with Nobody's Perfect? Sideline Story?
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights?
Friday Night Lights?
No, that's great. Forest Hills is great. He just hasn't made that album. He hasn't made the Goat Talk album, in my opinion.
He's been very consistent. And the people who like Cole love these albums. Nobody's listening to Cole like, yo, this album's not it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. That was one of my big things, and why I have been critical of Cole throughout his career is because, for me, those albums don't really match up with the great albums that I've heard. But his level of consistency as an MC and what he does, it's kind of like Currency-ish in a way, where it's like, no, he's going to give you a quality album. It might not jump off the page and be Get Rich or Die Trying or To Pimp a Butterfly or something. But from a consistency standpoint, I could say he probably has caught Kendrick. And Kendrick's the album making guy.
Here's Cole's biggest problem. He hasn't made an album that reflects his talent.
Exactly.
Everybody that's been top 3-ish from their era has made an album that reflects that top 3 status.
Good Kid, Mad City.
To Pimp a Butterfly. Ready to Die, Life After Death. All Eyes on Me. Yeah. Illmatic, It Was Written. Reasonable Doubt in the Blueprint.
Doggy Style.
Follow the Leader.
Yeah.
Long Live the Cane. The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. By All Means Necessary. Criminal Minded.
You've been blinded. Looking for a style like mine and can't find it. Oh, let me get to these super chats. Luis with the super chat says, the It's Your World beat is too damn addicting. Yeah, shout out to Dilla for that one. It's a beautiful record. Common was getting down on there too. Ill Magic with the super chat says, I started to feel like K-Dot is going to stay in that hillbilly style with Baby King. But I hope I'm wrong. You might be right.
What I'm saying is that I don't have anything nice to say about it, so I can't concern myself with that shit.
I'm hoping, just for the sake of hip-hop, that Kendrick can find it in him to make a damn level album. I hope for the sake of
hip-hop that happens.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I'm not staying and waiting.
Oh, yeah. Thumbs up in the chat. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, I'm nervous that Cole's next album would just be good, but not great, which will ultimately place him on a Method Man. It's funny he said that. I was thinking that in my head and didn't say it. On the Meth and Busta all-time rap show. A lot of classic moments with no classic albums. Now, what happens if this album is just good, like the other ones?
Good is relative to how you feel about it. Like, Forest Hills Drive is more impactful than Tikal is.
Yeah.
And The Coming in ELE. And so I don't think that's fair. But I do get some of the connotations of what he is saying. And I don't want that for Cole either. And that's what I mean about you have to make an album that reflects your talents.
I think that's where the Method Man thought came in my head when you're talking about an album that reflects your talents. I think that's what we've always held against Method Man, sometimes unfairly, right?
But he's got everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In spades. He's got everything else in spades.
I think he's the feature king.
He is.
That people don't give him credit for. Michael Williams with the Super Chat says, if we're talking about catalog, Freddie over Cole. Freddie does have a better catalog than Cole, album for album.
I think Freddie's catalog might exceed Kendrick's at this point.
It could.
I don't hear y'all talking that shit, though.
Did you hear DJ Drama say that they got that Gangsta Grill on the way with Pusha T? I think he described it as spicy.
Pusha T Gangsta Grills?
Yeah. He said he thinks that this Gangsta Grills might get a Grammy nomination or something, he said. So that's on the way.
Everybody that follows the show knows how I feel about Pusha T. I don't have to tell you how excited I am.
N. Simons with the Super Chat says, are you guys excited about the JID and Metro album that's supposed to drop this year? Also, are you familiar with Kenny Mason? Super excited about that because you know what? This is going to do two things. I think this will elevate JID. This is going to expand Metro and his palette as a producer. And it's going to give Metro an opportunity to make a full album for a rapping concept MC.
I think they both need each other right now.
They do. Because
and I love it.
The Forever Story was a very great album, I thought. I thought it was very, very good. If the Forever Story came out last year, it could have gotten that. It could have gotten that top 3. I'll put it this way. I think it's better than Michael, in my opinion.
I do too.
I thought it was better than Michael. And
that would make it could have been album of the year.
Yeah.
You can say it. Go ahead. Yeah. Say it then.
And so with the momentum that he's having with, you know what I'm saying, the challenge that's going on where his song is getting a resurgence, JID that is, I think that both him and Metro could definitely use each other at this time. Because right now, the only thing that we know Metro for is either making a full album, well, obviously the singles, but we're talking about album making, full album for Future, full album for 21. Now, this one's going to be different. And this is a great opportunity all around.
I mean, not to be funny, it's like, you know, Metro does kind of have something to prove from this regard. Can you make an album for a nigga that has quote-unquote bars?
Right. I think the closest that he did with that was when Offset and 21 made that Without Warning album, and he did that whole thing. But that's the closest. That's on the mic. I love Offset. I think Offset's a star. I think Offset does his thing on the mic, but I wouldn't say he's a better lyricist than JID. So this is different.
Not even close.
Yeah, this is
not
different.
Even close. It's not even conversational.
007 with the Super Chat says, Born Center and Forest Hill Drive were good LPs. Yeah, I agree. The only problem with it is when we start putting those albums up against the great stuff, like the all-time great stuff. That's
correct.
It.
That's the problem.
That's the only problem.
His problem isn't album making.
Yeah.
It's where the album making falls in relationship to where his skill set falls.
Yeah. I agree.
Because his skill set says GOAT conversation.
Yeah. His skill set says I can make the blueprint. Right?
Yes.
Hadn't made anything close to it. And that's all we were saying. Nobody's disrespected Cole or nothing.
His skill set says he could make Stillmatic.
Yeah. Mad Max of the Super Chat.
Expectation.
Right. Great expectations. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, it's more JID era than Cole. You could dominate and not be your era. Kobe was cooking in 2013, and that was LeBron's era. Kobe's era was the 2000s. That's fair.
But that's what I'm saying is that no, Kobe was still a problem when LeBron and KD were the two best players in the league because he was probably third or fourth still.
I think in a game time situation, he was the best of the three.
in a game time situation, he's better than all of these niggas.
Esquire with the super chat says, people act like an album that isn't top 50 all time just can't be a great album. FHD and Born Center are great. Imperfect, but great. His best is still ahead. But see, you say all that to say that, Esquire, because you know that it's great as far as Hill Drive is. If we start putting it up against the all-time great stuff, he still has a level to go. That's why you said his best is still ahead. I'm looking forward to it.
Here's his problem. Let's go all the way to the top like we normally do so that you can get an accurate picture of what it is Mike and I are saying. First of all, we know for a fact he hasn't made anything Illmatic, It Was Written, or Stillmatic level. Correct?
Oh, yeah. I would say that.
Has he made anything better than the Lost Tapes?
You could argue that Forest Hill Drive is better overall. I mean, the Lost Tapes is...
You want to know why you can't? How about this, Mike? Has he made anything better than KD3?
I don't think
so. See the problem?
I don't
see the problem?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Do you see the problem?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, we're down a bunch of albums.
I'm tired of niggas running around acting like that's not a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
He can do better.
Best album, if you're in the GOAT conversation, and your best album, is it
a top 50 album? Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're in the GOAT conversation, your best album has to be a top 50 album.
You can't. I can't go to the GOAT and be like the GOAT that made 5 albums better than you. I shouldn't be able to do that with your catalog. You feel me?
Yeah. How can you be in the conversation of, let's just say, top 5 shooting guards, and you never averaged over 20 or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work like that.
You're not Kobe. You're not Mike. You're not D Wade.
Right.
You're not Jerry West. All them niggas is good for 20 from the moment they pretty much stepped into the league.
Yeah. Andrew Williams with the super chat says Friday Night Lights and Forest Hill Drive are great? ? I don't know about that. They're good, but not great. I think sometimes we use the word great too loosely. Andrew's on his ass. Jay Short with the super chat says, can we do a poll and settle this? Forest Hill Drive, a classic album? Farce once and for all. All right, let's do it.
See the disrespect? You see the disrespect?
Let's see.
This is what the problem is.
Where does this come from?
Mike, it comes from a place. You see, Mike, I just asked you if it was better than a nigga who was 50 years old making an album, and you told me no. That's the problem. Is it better than, has he made something Ready to Die or Life After Death comparable? All Eyes on Me, Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint. I just named the albums. It's like, does he have an album? Mike, does he have a good Kid, Mad City?
He doesn't.
It's the fucking problem.
I've said this before. I think that if we're talking about Kendrick, and this is my stance, 2-3 years ago when we were talking about this on the show, 2.5 years ago maybe. I said that I think that Forest Hill Drive is Cole's best album, but I also feel like Damn, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Good Kid, Mad City are better albums than Forest Hill Drive.
So here's how Kendrick ends up in GOAT conversations and Cole doesn't. Watch this. Oh, Mike. Good Kid, Mad City better than everything Nas made except for Illmatic and It Was Written. Maybe Stillmatic. Maybe. You see that? That's how you get in those conversations.
And a lot of people would say that it's better than It Was Written.
They're smoking crack.
People would say that, though.
It's okay to smoke rocks again, apparently.
Esquire with the super chat says, the Cole conversation sparked a thought. What's an undisputed all-time great album that you don't personally love? Mine is It Takes a Nation. Oh, the disrespect, Esquire. Come on,
Esquire.
Man. You just threw me off with that one.
Esquire.
All right.
That is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in all the years of doing this podcast. Like,
I got one.
That album, fuck top 50, Mike. That's an easy top 10.
That's
probably top 5.
Easy.
Ever.
Well, you know what?
Matter of fact, Mike, I can't front, and we're gonna talk about it. You mind if we sidebar right quick? Get to some of my notes right quick.
We can, but I do want to answer his question.
I'm about to answer his question.
Can I say the Marshall Mathers LP, or is that even an undisputed classic?
Wild. You wild too. No, the Marshall Mathers LP is not in this conversation.
Oh, it's not an undisputed classic. Okay.
Not when he said it takes a nation of millions.
Right, that's a different level. I'm trying to think, man. Most of the stuff that is deemed classic, I'm kind of lock in step with it.
I mean, I always told you that All for One by Brand Nubian would probably be mine.
You have said that.
I don't love the album. I think it's a great album, but I think it's just great. I don't get classic, all-time great classic vibes from it.
Don't hit me over the head with Breaking Atoms.
People's Instinctive Travels.
Oh,
People's Instinctive and All for One. I told you, it's like no, they're great. I don't know about that classic shit.
You know what? Great. I hate to do this, but I think it might be Breaking Atoms. I love the album, but see, I don't know. That's not like an undisputed.
I think Breaking Atoms for a lot of people is. Oh, see, that's what I mean by undisputed.
Yeah, because when you say it takes a nation, it's like, nah, that's different class right there.
You wild, Esquire. You wild for that. Esquire makes some of our best comments and does some of our best chats. That's wild, Esquire.
The Carter 3.
I'm with you on the Carter 3.
Dot with a super chat says, how y'all feel about Kendrick's music sonically? I mean, if we're talking about Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and damn, I'm with it.
Oh, Mike, EPMD's first album, what was that, Strictly Business?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not big on that either.
Oh, that album's a banger. Now,
no, it's a banger. I just don't feel the way those three albums, the EPMD album, the Brand Nubian album, and the first Tribe album. I don't feel the way everybody else feels about them. So those would be the three that come to my mind.
If I had to rank those three albums,
Carter 3 ain't like that for me.
If I had to rank those three albums, I'm gonna go People's Instinctive, Strictly Business, and then All for One.
I would agree with that.
Esquire,
but I don't think it's undisputed the way everybody else does.
Yeah,
people be killing me when I say that about the EPMD album, Mike. They literally be like, "You, me outside."
Nah, EPMD gets a lot of love. Esquire with the super chat says, "I know Forest Hill Drive isn't hip hop canon material. I agree with y'all 1,000%. I'm responding to those who are saying that it's a step further and saying that he has a mid catalog. Okay, well, it looks like people are saying it's not a classic.
Really?
Yeah, 57% to 43%.
Very problematic.
And we got 63 votes. We're going to get this one up to 100 votes. We'll get this one up to 100 votes. N. Simons with the super chat says, what does J. Cole have to do to make a classic album at this point? What do you personally need to hear for the fall off to be considered a classic? That brings me into my comment. Do you think J. Cole might need like a pairing, like a Danger Mouse? Because I know we said Hit Boy initially, but for J. Cole to make that album that everybody feels like he needs to make, in my opinion, I think he needs one producer that's not himself.
I think he could go the route of using a myriad of producers as long as he's not the producer. You just rhyme. You let somebody else take care of the beats.
I think a consistent sound would fare well for him. Even if it's a Ninth Wonder or something.
That depends. What J. Cole do you want to hear? You want to hear J. Cole like on some rap shit? Because I tell you, have you heard the J.I.P. freestyle over the Conductor beat?
No. I got to check
When I heard it, I was like, that's what Cole needs.
Cole needs Conductor. There it is. Let's do a whole album with Conductor. How about that?
See, but this is what I'm saying. I'm cool if J. Cole goes and gets Conductor, Hit, Alchemist, and Metro. I'm cool with that.
What do you think about Ninth Wonder? I'm trying to show Carolina.
I'm cool with a couple tracks.
Okay, you don't want Ninth Wonder to do a whole Cole album.
How'd the Ninth Wonder Black Thought thing go?
I thought it went all right. Actually, you know what?
I ain't about to cut it.
It's not. That's the problem. Actually,
That's the problem. I don't want to hear all right.
Did Ninth Wonder, he was the one that jumped out there with Thought first, right? And then it was Salaam Remi that went second.
It feels that way.
I feel like the Salaam Remi one was better than the Ninth Wonder one, and I was very surprised by that.
I wasn't.
I got Ninth Wonder in my top 25, so.
Salaam Remi made you look.
Oh no. I know. Yeah. Salam Remy the truth. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, appreciate you, brother, but you always name the greatest albums of all time as a comparison. It's almost impossible to make those in this era.
How about this? Just to stay in this era, what's Drake's best album?
I think Nothing Was the Same or Take Care.
Or if you're reading this, it's too late.
Yeah.
See how we just listed off 3? Let's pause for a second. Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly. Damn.
Yeah.
I just gave you 6 albums from 2 guys that he knows is his competition for this era that he has not exceeded yet. So he needs to make something comparable to one of those 6 projects. Does he not?
Does he have enough time on the clock to do it? To me, I think it's now or never in this year, to be perfectly honest.
I think Nas and Wayne are changing the shot clock, Mike.
They are.
But the shot clock doesn't say 24 anymore. It says 48.
But when you're 15 years in and you got your peers who've already made their seminal pieces, he needs this one to work. You know what I mean? Like, 2024 is kind of now or never when it comes to that classic album that's going to jump off the page for Cole.
Hey.
Yeah. Esquire with the super chat.
He's from Fayetteville, North Carolina, Mike. He's going to stand up this year.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to it.
He's going to stand up this year. It's happening this year.
Esquire with the super chat says, it's goated, but I only regularly play 5 or 6 songs. See, no, we can't do that. No, we can't call something great and then say we only play 5 or 6 songs.
I do that with great albums all the time. I feel what he's saying. Sometimes I just want to hear the records that I love the most, and then I'm cool.
You know, whenever Mr. Don't Play gets in the rotation, Project Pat, for y'all that don't know, I can't just play one song. That's one of those albums. When I play one song, I'm going to end up playing the whole thing.
See, I don't feel that way about a lot of albums. Doggy Style is usually what does that to me. Doggy Style is the album that does that to me, where it's like, I know Gin and Juice just came on, but let me go ahead and play the whole record.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and play the whole.
It's like, well, am I going to skip over Murder Was the Case? Am I going to skip over What's My Name? Am I going to skip over
Serial Killer?
It Ain't No Fun? Yeah, Lottie Dottie, The Shiznit.
Even Hustlers? No, I'm not skipping any of that.
Yeah, Serial Killer? Nah, I'm not going to skip that.
Serial Killer.
Yo, Magic with the super chat says, can y'all explain to me how Forest Hill is a classic? Looks like we don't have to.
See?
Because the people are saying no.
This is the problem with his GOAT status. That's why it's like, no. This is the year.
He's getting the Method Man treatment. For the people that didn't grow up in the 90s, this is exactly how Method Man was treated. Because Method Man is on tracks with heavyweights in the Wu-Tang, on all kind of tracks with heavyweights. By many metrics at the time, people felt like he was the best member of the group. He's on all these hooks. He's killing everything. But he doesn't have a Ready to Die. He doesn't have a Life After Death. He doesn't have a Purple Tape. He doesn't have an Illmatic. He doesn't have a Doggy Style. Whoa. And these were the conversations.
It's going too high.
But I'm just saying, he was in that, from a skill set standpoint, he was in that elite class.
Like, how about this? You think J. Cole's better than Raekwon?
I mean, not to me, but if somebody said he was, I could see where they're coming from.
But a lot of people feel that way, but you don't have no Purple Tape 1 or 2 to me.
No?
That's the problem.
I don't think Cole could beat Raekwon in the verses, but that's just me.
I think a lot of people could beat Ray in the verses. Ray got a lot of shit.
No, and I'm saying without the Wu-Tang stuff, just solo Ray stuff.
He doesn't have an incarcerated Scarfaces.
Jay Short with the super chat says Forest Hills Drive is a quote-unquote classic in the same way that Volume 2 is a classic, and it is a timestamp, but it's not original or exceptional in either execution or creativity, and the poll proved it.
Volume 2 ain't no classic like that to me. I've been said that.
You know what? It was always quote unquote common knowledge that Volume 2 is a classic, but as time has gone on, its classic status has fallen off.
It was never a classic. It wasn't classic when it came out.
Heavy marketing?
Aquemini came out the same day. That's how
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't a classic. It's like, no, that's a classic.
Well, you know my theory. When the source had to rate Volume 2 and Aquemini in the same issue, they put the source between the rock and the hard place because they couldn't give Volume 2, Jay's comeback album, a 4 because they gave Volume 1 a 4, right? You couldn't go out there and say that Volume 2 is so much better than Volume 1 at the time and give it the same rating. So they had to give Volume 2 4.5. But with that going 4.5, you could not give Aquemini that same rating. They had to give it 5.
I don't like how they phrase Volume 2 as a comeback album when the previous album was Volume 1.
Yeah.
Volume
Well, I mean, Jay did that.
Song for song, Volume 1's better than Volume 2. There was no comeback.
Jay did that, though. Gave you prophecy on my first joint. Y'all
Hope
aimed
did
out.
that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. Okay.
Esquire with the super chat says, I personally prefer FOABP, but that's personal preference. I understand that many people consider M, the greatest LP ever. And I copped it on vinyl years ago. You know what? Speaking of vinyl, I got some Christmas gifts.
Ass. Talking about he fell off from Volume 1. Ain't no Streets is Watching or Imaginary Players on fucking Volume 2.
Check out the
Dumb as
vinyl.
shit.
Check out the vinyl I got for Christmas, man. Shout out to Dana, hooked it up with the vinyl.
What's My Name is one of the top 10 DMX songs. She got you into the Wu-Tang?
Yep. Got that.
Now I'm jealous.
And and boom.
Was more jealous at the Into the Wu-Tang.
I figured you would be. And shout out to a brother who got this. Ooh. This came through. So,
okay. Yeah. I see I need to step my vinyl game up. Okay.
Yeah, and these are just, from previous years, of course. But
I hate that
so I'm getting my collection up a little bit. Yeah.
I got Ready to Die on vinyl too. I'm not gonna buy Daytona on vinyl ever, as much as I love the album.
Yeah, the cover is pretty disrespectful, but I love the album.
I love the album too. I'm just not gonna put money in their pocket when you disrespect Whitney like that.
I'm with you. Gritty with the super chat says Cole needs to make a Life is Good type of album. Talk about life. I don't know if that's gonna be enough right now, the way he's rapping.
Man, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Rap your ass off. Crush these niggas.
Right. Esquire with the super chat says, personal favorite versus appreciation for all-time greatest effort. Great efforts are different. Guerrilla Warfare is one of my favorites, but I'd never consider it a top 50. Now, I got an album like that. Method Man and Redman's Blackout album. It's a personal favorite of mine, but it's not a top 50 or a top 100 album.
I mean, let's stick with Redman. I love the Def Squad album, El Nino. Love me some El Nino.
El Nino's fire.
El Nino fire. How about this? I like El Nino more than I like There Is a Dark Side.
El Nino's hard. Do you? El
Nino's hard.
Huh.
Yeah, I do.
Huh. I need to go listen to both of those back to back. It's been a minute for El Nino, but I remember when El Nino dropped, it was some heat. In 98, man, there was just so much heat that was being dropped. In 98, the climate's not like 95 and 96. Like 95 and 96 just felt different. Like when you watched Rap City, shit was gritty. Things got polished up around 97. And 98 was kind of a mix of some grittiness with DMX doing what he did. And you got the polished stuff. So it's a little bit of best of both worlds. There's a lot of things going on in 98. Probably one of the most versatile years in hip-hop history. I'm not hip-hop history, in the 90s specifically.
Yeah, I think everybody has albums where it's like, that's my shit, even if it's not like your shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if it doesn't get that widespread acclaim from the populace, but you love it. It's one of those albums that you love. Yeah. Like you know what? I love 8Ball and MJG's Living Legends. I love that album. Look at the Grills. Yeah. Don't Make Me. That's Gangsta. You Don't Want Drama. Street Niggas. Love that album. Forever with Lloyd.
Right.
Love that album.
It's Lloyd's birthday.
I'm talking about that's On Top of the World or Coming Out Hard.
Yeah.
Nobody.
That In My Lifetime album gets talked about a lot too.
in my lifetime is dope. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. But I love Living Legends just as much as I love those albums, even though I know they're not better.
Andrew Williams with the super chat says, I love Cole, by the way. I just don't like calling a catalog great if it's not. If it's not great, then I'm just not going to call it great. Just because I want it to be. I think there's a lot to that. Yeah.
Which one is it? Emeritus by Scarface?
Mm-hmm.
Love Emeritus.
That's a dope album.
Love Emeritus. Still playing records off that album.
Ill Magic with the super chat says, if anything, Crit is somebody who deserves to be in this conversation with underrated, major, and independent classics. I agree with that.
Now, first of all,
I would like to see Crit and J. Cole do something together.
I don't think Crit's made anything better than Forest Hills Drive. No, I do not. No, I do not.
Return to Forever?
Nope.
That's a good one. I would like to see them make music together, actually. I think he's a better producer than Cole.
I agree. I'm still cool on the pairing, though.
Yeah. Not the Mississippi Carolina pairing?
Nah.
Do it for the South.
You can keep it.
MXJ.
If we go on Mississippi Carolina pairing, give me David Banner.
You're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I like Crit's beats better than Banner's. Collectively. Now, Banner has some bangers like, like a
I
pimp.
can't help you when you talk
He
about
got, you know what I'm saying, Rubber Band Man. And my personal favorite, the Tip Drill remix or whatever. The EI remix Tip Drill. But collectively, I like Crit's beats a little bit better. Not by a lot. But they're comparable.
I can't approve that message.
Okay. MXJ Inspirations with the super chat says, what do y'all think is next for Nas? I'm spoiled. I think rest. Chilling. I mean, he's outworked everybody. So what should be next?
I don't know. 10 cent coffee at McDonald's. AARP, motherfucking retirement pension plan.
Yeah,
this nigga, we wasn't expecting this. Nobody's done this.
He was already
like he never had to rap again.
We came to this show before KD1 came out.
Like
when
literally
we came
a couple
to this
months
show,
before.
yeah. You already had him as number one before he even did all of this. I had him at number 2. And then he did this. So, no, he doesn't have to do anything.
Look here. Go smoke you a Cuban cigar. Get on a boat somewhere. Enjoy your GOAT status.
Yeah.
You don't got to do shit.
I know what y'all are trying to do. Y'all trying to pull him into that premiere album. So y'all don't have... Because if that happens...
I'm cool.
Are people even going to... People are going to find a way to criticize it. Let's just be real.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
It's the GOAT.
MJ with the super chat says, J. Cole and K-Dot combined don't have the catalog of the game. Yet they're talked about in rare air. Shaking my head. Clippers 2024 champions. There we go. Make that proclamation. He got Clippers winning the championship.
They're not winning shit, first of all.
Yo, cool. If the Clippers do win the championship, you got to do something for the fans. Like, this has got to be like some sort of bet or something.
Mike, those are problems that I don't have to worry about because when it matters most, they're going to fail you. Creaky knees, Boy George, and Frauden are going to fail you when it matters.
Not Boy George.
They're going to fail you when it matters because that's what those niggas do. So tired of explaining this shit. They're not going anywhere. I don't care what people think. I hope they get Phoenix in the first round. I bet you they're going home.
Ooh.
I hope they have home
I
court
hope they
advantage.
get Phoenix in the first round too. Because
I hope they have home
if
court
Phoenix
advantage
loses
in the first round, they're going home.
If KD and his squad lose to those guys, you're gonna have a lot of explaining to do.
Home. They're gonna be where they're gonna be where James Harden used to be when it matters. At home. Because he's their point guard. Home.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Cole ain't in no GOAT talks, but Find is. I'm sorry. Yeah, Forest Hill Drive. He got it in little no caps. Forest Hill Drive is a classic. Fire Squad, GOMD, Tales of Two Cities, January 28th. Wet Dreams, to a degree, are classic. How an album have 4 or 5 classic songs and not be a classic? How many classic songs does an album have to be a classic? Or does it work like that?
It can. I would say at least 5.
Yeah.
You need at least 5 pieces.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, fellas, Volume 2 was more about the statement of Jay-Z saying that he was going to become an icon, the same way as Nipsey claimed his position with Victory Lap.
Victory Lap way better than Volume 2. Stop that.
Is that how Leroy Green's going to position Volume 2? Listen, I'm okay with somebody saying that Volume 2 is a classic, because the reason why Volume 2's classic nature is there because it was a moment, and that can't be denied. Volume 2 was a moment. Has he made better albums than Volume 2? Sure. Volume 2 was a moment.
4 of them.
What 4? You think American Gangsta is better than Volume 2?
Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, and Volume 1 are all better. American Gangsta might be better too, yeah. Maybe 5.
I don't know if
It may not even be a top 5 album.
I don't know if I could say Volume 1's better than Volume 2.
Mike, is there an 1,000,001 question Streets is watching or Imaginary Players on Volume 2?
I got you, but I think that the low points on Volume 1 bring the grade down for me.
Where I'm From, Rap Game, Crack Game.
No, the high levels are high level. Like
Friend of Foe 98.
The high stuff on Volume 1 is better than the high stuff on Volume 2.
What I'm saying is that Volume 1 has about 6 or 7 songs. It's like blowing out like the entirety of Volume 2.
Okay, well, let's poll it. Y'all already done said that J. Cole ain't got a classic with Forest Hill Drive. Let's see what y'all say about Volume 1, Volume 2.
Rappers I ain't heard no rapper make a song called 98 Hove. I've heard a rapper make a song called 97 Hove for a reason. For a reason.
One rapper.
That rapper matters, Mike.
Oh, yeah, that rapper matters.
It's a high-level rapper making that
song. No, it's a high-level song, too.
It's a high-level song. It's one of his 10 best songs.
But people talk about, you know what I'm saying, Annie in the whole Volume 2 era and everything that comes with it. We got the poll up. I want to see what people say. Esquire with the super chat says, Crit is definitely a better producer than Banner. Got Esquire's cosign here.
Heard that 601. 601 in the house. I hear you.
Somebody said earlier, Holy Grail ain't that bad. Said we crazy. Come on, man. Shout out to John Phillips to the super chat. He says, J. Doe Productions, Brother Lynch Hung, Loaded, and Season of Sickness is classic. I've always heard that too. Now, I haven't been able to get into that album, but I've always heard Brother Lynch Hunt's Season of Sickness is classic.
Volume 1 is out here waxing Volume 2.
Oh, man, this is crazy.
It's not crazy. Them records ain't like that.
Wow, y'all gonna let Volume 2 fall out like this?
How about this, Mike? A week ago is probably the best song on Volume 2, Mike. That's probably like the 6th best song on Volume 1 if it was on Volume 1.
Yeah, Imaginary Players is better. Where I'm From is better. Streets is Watching is better. 1,000,001 is better.
You Must Love Me is better.
Okay, I'm good with that. Where else is
right there, Mike? It's a 5-piece. It's the 6th best song, right?
Yeah.
Like 97 Hope.
Shout out to Fireberg Phoenix, man, dropping some heat, man. He dropped Common Man, the video, dropped Moving, where he's spitting like 50 bars. It kind of gave me that Streets is Watching feel. We got all the information there in the community section, and you can stream it on all platforms right now. Thumbs up in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat showing love, man. Happy New Year to everybody. In Simons with the super chat says, any anticipation for Schoolboy Q's album? Always anticipation for Schoolboy Q. We just never know if Schoolboy's actually gonna come out.
Come out with an album.
Yeah.
Like, where the hell has this nigga been?
And you know, that's the thing too, man. In this era of people putting out consistent work and quote unquote consistency, you do have a lot of artists out there who just really don't put out music like that. And
I told you,
Schoolboy's
Mike,
kind of one of them.
look here.
ASAP's
Oxymoron?
one of them now.
Oxymoron,
Yeah.
Blank Face, Crash Talk, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. ASAP's like that too. ASAP Rocky, that is. Shit, Ferg's kind of like that now. These dudes don't put out
ASAP last
music.
album wasn't like that. ASAP coming out this year, I heard.
I hope so. You ain't like ASAP's last album?
No.
Testing was the last one, right?
Yes.
Testing was dope.
Yeah.
You know how long ago Testing was? We getting on
like 2018.
yeah. We get on Travis Scott, but no. Testing came out like that same day, I think.
Hey. He's been a little busy. Cheers.
Well, you know. You're here to make music, but yes, I agree with you. Live your life.
Not when that's your wife. All
Black Wealth and Power with the super chat says, why isn't Volume 2 a classic? That's literally the album that made him a household name to casual/public. That matters. Okay. I'm glad you said that. Does that matter when we're talking about classic albums? Because again, like I said, I feel like it's classic because of the moment. Are we giving that album classic status because of who made it and what it did for that individual? And is that fair?
It's not fair because we just asked ourselves how many classic songs need to be on a classic album, and that shit don't meet the marker because it don't have 5 classic songs on it.
Jigga what, Jigga who?
1.
Okay. Can I get a?
That's not a classic.
That's a classic, Coop. It is.
And it's not his song. Yeah, I said it. Everybody knows you stole that shit.
Money Cash
First of all,
Hoes.
That's not a classic.
That's not a classic?
No.
Money Ain't a Thing. It's not a classic?
Mike, listen to the records you name and you tell me if you think that's classic.
I mean, these are big records.
Mike, a big record does not a classic make. Like, how about this? You remember I Get Money by 50? Do you think that record's classic?
No.
It was really big, though, wasn't it?
But you know what? If somebody did say it was a classic, I could see where they're coming from, but not
I can
to
see
me.
where you're coming from.
Yeah.
That don't make the shit the truth. Like, it's got Nigga What Nigga Who, A Week Ago.
So you got A Week Ago a classic over Money Cash Hoes.
Hell yeah, A Week Ago is way better than Money Cash Hoes.
I like A Week Ago better, but that's a hard argument to make.
It's got
Like,
Reservoir
what's
Dogs.
the
That's a
metrics?
classic. Reservoir Dogs is a classic.
Okay. Ill Magic with the super chat says, Crit was here, Return to Forever, Cadillacica, Forever and a Day, Forever is a Mighty Long Time. Yeah, King Remembered in Time. Dog is better than Cole's albums. I'm not mad at that. Crit's work is highly regarded.
That shit ain't better than Cole shit. Next.
Really? Huh.
Not.
How do we solve this? I guess we got to do another poll here.
You want to do a J. Cole? You want to do a Cole Crit versus?
I was thinking about that.
I wouldn't do that if I was you. That's what I'm
just
saying.
tired
Don't do
of
that to
taking the
yourself.
underdogs. I need something a little bit more evenly matched on that one.
Exactly. You want to know why it's not evenly matched? Because Cole has better albums and better songs. That's why it's not evenly matched.
Okay, let me put this in the chat. Is this going to be a popularity contest? Let's see.
It's a song for song contest.
I don't think Chris should ever sign to Def Jam, but that's just my opinion.
I forgot that he signed to Def Jam. What has Def Jam done for him?
Yeah, man. They basically took his fan base off course. I think Chris should have been out here doing what Currency does, but that didn't really exist at that time. So the dream was to get a record deal back then, and he signed with Def Jam. Let's see. Rigomatic with the super chat says, Happy New Year to A2HH and the chat. Even you haters out there. It gets greater later.
Happy New Year to you haters first.
He said, it gets greater later. Make it your year. Appreciate that. Of course. Happy New Year to you as well. Il Magic with the super chat says, yes, it is, Coop. He's saying that the catalog. Okay, well, J. Cole's winning this right now.
Duh.
I want to see J. Cole do one producer, but he's probably going to do multiple. But I'm cool with the idea of having Danger Mouse. You know what? Let's just say it like this. Kind of like how Freddie did for Soul Sold Separately.
Yes.
Something like that.
I want Danger Mouse and Black Thought to get back together.
Me too.
Cheat Codes too.
I would like to see Kentronada and J. Cole do something after I heard what Kentronada did with Freddie. Freddie has a great ear.
He does.
He has a great ear.
Freddie picks beats that fit the mood of the tone he's trying to set for an album. Freddie's a great album maker. Not a good album maker, a great album maker.
I think that skill set is very understated. Like, people like Freddie and Rick Ross can get the best out of producers because producers come to them with an expectation. And they know what to pick, clearly. I mean, I'm pretty sure these producers play them a bunch of tracks. And Ross and Freddie somehow find the best ones to pick. Now, I think sometimes when you have somebody like a J. Cole, when he produces, we assume that he's a great beat picker because he's a producer. But I would question how great of a beat picker that Cole actually is. Is that fair?
Even Michael Jordan learned to give Scotty the ball and let Scotty take the ball up court because Scotty's a better facilitator.
But do you not think that him being a producer in some ways kind of makes other producers feel like they got to make things that are within his production mind? You know what I mean?
He's an MC first. Give him some rapping ass rapper shit. Please and thank you.
Mad Max in the
For
Super
all of
Chat
us in the state of North Carolina. For all of us that were born in the state of North Carolina.
I think that's what he needs to do.
Too.
He needs to double down on what he's been doing great right now, and that's rap.
Like, he needs some all eyes on me type of love.
That's an all hands on deck moment.
Everybody all in with Cole. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, no, the shit on Earth Gang album, JID album, your shit up for grabs because the fallout's more important.
Well, you know what?
Fuck this Dog Pound album and this Snoop album and this Dre album. Fuck your album.
Now, you know what? Now that you say that, you know who might need to executive produce J. Cole's album?
That nigga Daz?
Drake. Because Drake wants him to win. And Drake wants him to be better than Kendrick, too. And Drake would make sure that he got every beat that he needed to get.
I actually like where you're going with that, Mike.
I think Drake needs to executive produce J. Cole's next album. And they're going on tour together.
I'm with that campaign, Mike. I'm down with that campaign.
Yeah. Because he can get whatever beat there is. Mad Max in the Super Chat says, we got to stop this you like Crit because he's independent. Dudes who fall in the mainstream and then go underrated or ground. I guess he means go underground. I see what Gibbs. Nah, man, the Gibbs is real. I feel like if Gibbs was around, let's just say in 04, 05, in the 106 and Park era, Gibbs shit would be getting played.
Gibbs would have a Jadakiss-like buzz back in the day.
Yeah. I'm trying to see who to compare him to, man, especially being from Gary, Indiana. There's not a lot of people to compare him to. Yeah, I think Kiss is probably the comparison.
Yeah.
Black Wealth and Power with the Super Chat says, 1, a week ago. He's naming all the classics on Volume 2. Says 2, Money Cash Hoes. 3, Hard Knock Life. Can't forget that one. 4, Nigga What, Nigga Who. 5, Reservoir Dogs. 5, Classic Songs. Volume 2 is a classic. Hey, he named 5. And then he still left Money Ain't a Thing, and It's All Right, and all those records off.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. First of all, the Beat the Money Cash Hoes ain't like that, and DMX made that record, Mike.
Well, you're not going to get an argument from me. Swiss produced that.
I'm going to need you not to be shady. I just need you to rock with me.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not a fan of his beats like that. I think his best beat, Banned from TV.
I was thinking, no.
Okay. This shouldn't be this difficult.
Maybe Jason off the Top 5 Dead or Alive album. I got my hoodie and my mask on. I got my gun and my blast on. That shit was hard.
Well, Rough Riders Anthem is an easy pick, so I'm going to stay away.
Echo? The Nas joint.
He didn't
Pistol
produce
on
that.
my side.
He didn't
He
produce
did
that.
Pistol on the Wayne joint. Pistol on my
Okay,
side.
I'm with that. Him and Wayne really work good together. You know what? I might go with "It's Me, Bitches." That shit was hard. Chilling in my Beamer, listening to Ether.
Oh, no. The Let's Talk About with Even Drag On. That shit fire.
Okay, look at us pulling out some dope Swiss tracks. There's another one that I was thinking about because we was talking about DMX, we was talking about Jada. Oh, Put Your Hands Up. He made that, right?
He may Put Your Hands Up? I don't think so.
He didn't? Okay. Well, giving him extra credit. Mad Max with the super chat says, Underground. Gibbs gets gas like that too. He's like, I remember when he was next to Jeezy on them Waka beats. Nobody cared. He could get Alchemist now and his disc is fire. Allegedly. Damn.
Mad Max, you sound crazy. Be quiet.
Did you hear what Big Hit in the game and Hit Boy put out first day of 2024?
I did.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I like the way Game sounds over Hit Boy Records. Obviously, you know what I'm saying? Big Hit bringing the energy, and I love the whole story with Big Hit and Hit Boy jumping on records together. Father and son, it's a beautiful thing. But it's something about, I don't know, man. To me, I think Game could be considered one of the more improved rappers ever. Like, you listen to him rap from his debut and all the way up into now, it's like he got better and better with each effort. You know what I mean? And somebody in here said the Game has a better catalog than Cole and Kendrick, but it's not viewed as an elite MC. Why do you think the Game gets left out of these conversations?
First of all, I agree with that sentiment. For one, he does have a better catalog than Cole and Kendrick. I think because he came into the game with so much help, that sometimes the first impression that you make is the impression that you leave. And so he's always been looked upon as a MC that needed a lot of help to succeed. But it's like I told you, some of his best records, in my opinion, are records where he's by himself. Low key, he's one of the best collaborators ever. And I think there's something to be said for that. It's like, when I listen to Jesus Piece, I look at how well he fits with J. Cole and then how well he fits with Pusha T. And I say to myself, how many guys can fucking do that on the same album?
And he'll do that with like E40 and Big Boy. It's like,
it doesn't matter. He can rap with anybody. There's something to be said for being the best team player. And what I think really he is that he doesn't get credit for a solo MC because he's such a masterful team player. But it's not like he can't go solo. I'll give you an example. House of Pain on LAX. No, that's a solo mission. That's one of his best records. Scream on him on The Doctor's Advocate. No, that's a solo mission. One Blood, solo mission. What's the record?
Bigger Than Me, solo mission.
Bigger Than Me, solo mission. The documentary part 2 with the Primo beat. Solo mission. He rapping his ass off on that Primo beat. He destroyed that track. That's actually one of Primo's best beats of the last 10 years.
I agree. And, you know, it's crazy when you got somebody like him who spazzes on records and nobody says anything about it.
Yeah, like when he blacks out on a record, nobody says anything about it. That's why I brought up House of Pain. Yo, he killed House of Pain on LAX.
Yeah.
Killed it.
I mean, even on albums that people don't even like that, like the Blood Moon album, the song Really, where it was him, T.I., 2 Chainz, and Yo Gotti, him and T.I. went crazy on there. But nobody says anything for whatever reason. James Smith with the super chat says, why would Cole get someone that doesn't have a classic hip-hop album to executive produce his album? Drake can't make a hip-hop classic himself. Some people would disagree with that, but I understand.
I don't.
Simons with the super chat says, hot take, 16 is Rick Ross's best song in my opinion.
It's up there.
Is it?
Yeah, 16's up there.
Yeah, I like Dre's verse. The song's cool.
I think you're bugging, Mike.
I like the song, but I never looked at it like one of Ross's best songs. Like,
it's one of his 20 best songs. It's one of his 20 best songs.
Okay, 20. He got a lot of songs.
He do.
Yeah.
It's not better than Amsterdam. I think the problem with 16 is that Amsterdam comes on right after 16, if memory serves.
I like 10 Jesus Pieces better, too.
I think 10 Jesus Pieces and 16 are comparable. I think Amsterdam is like his Amsterdam, Santorini, Greece, hustling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tip top.
What do you think about BMF?
I'm not big on BMF like everybody else, but it's up there. It's top 20. I like 16 more than I like BMF.
Okay. But yes, big hit in the game. That kind of came out of nowhere. I like the combination. I love, you know what I'm saying, the West Coast aesthetic with it, too. And I like the fact that Hit with the production really keeps it, he keeps it Cali, but he's able to branch out as well. You know what I mean? You heard me?
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think about Big Hit as an MC?
I think he's like straight up in your face with it. I like his approach. You know what I mean? It's entertaining. It's very MC Ren-ish.
Ooh, Villain in Black.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How about
Like,
this?
I'm going to listen.
I do feel like Big Hit's flow is a little dated, but the nigga just got out of prison.
But that's the aesthetic of it, though. That's what makes it real.
That's part of why I like it. It's kind of like, you know who he reminds me of? You brought up MC Ren. I was thinking MC8. Like
I can see
on
that.
some real old school SoCal gangsta blood gang type. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, 8's the other gang, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the aesthetic that it gives me. I mean, you know how I feel about some West Coast music. This has a classic West Coast feel to it. The first thing that I really enjoyed about the project is that there's no end to Hit's versatility.
Yeah.
His versatility as a producer from this era is unrivaled, which is why I think he is still the best producer of this era. Metro's the best beat maker. You could even say him and Alchemist are comparable album making wise, even though I would give that advantage to Hit too. But Alchemist and Metro are not diverse like Hit because he can go make a East Coast ass sounding album like KD3 or Magic 3, but then he can just do some classic West Coast like at the drop of a dime, and they made this album in like a day. So I was once again astounded by the production. Game sounds great over this shit.
He does.
It made me think.
I want to hear a whole Game and Hit Boy effort.
Thank you. My takeaway from this album is go ahead and give me that Game Hit Boy album and go ahead and give it to me fast. While like the momentum of this is still going, Big Hit got a little hook game to him too. Big Hit's hooks are strong.
It's like, you know, when I hear this stuff, and I'm not from the West Coast, you know what I'm saying, from Atlanta out here, but I know things that sounds that really work with this city. Like we heard some of that stuff on Killer Mike's album, like the soulfulness, right? And I feel the same way with, you know, when I hear Hit collaborating with his father in the Game, and it's got that real West Coast feel to it. And it makes me wonder, how do people like Kendrick feel when they hear these songs? Do you not want to make things that are in that West Coast vein, or do you appreciate it and you just understand that, okay, that's not me?
They ride. I mean, you were in a camp with J Rock and Schoolboy Q. Let's not act like you don't know how to ride the wave.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing. But I enjoy this album. Like, it's some West Coast gangster shit.
Yeah.
It's what I expected it to be. It's the Game and Big Hit.
Yeah.
It's like one nigga's a known gangbanger, one nigga just got out of prison. What were you expecting the rhetoric to be exactly? And here's also my thing too. I understand that, you know, content and subject matter is usually my tipping point. But sometimes you just need some shit to ride to. That's why I like Larry June's The Night Shift so much, Mike.
That shit's hard. I was listening to that the other day. Y'all are right about hard. The Night Shift. Yeah.
This is some dope ass, West Coast ass gangsta ass rap music.
It is.
I don't hear a lot of that coming out anymore because everybody's getting canceled or too scared to like say shit anymore. And it's like, nah, this is some unbiased gangster shit. And
It's actually refreshing.
It sounds good because, quite frankly, the guys that are talking this gangster shit, well, they're gangsters, Mike.
They're about that shit.
And the producer who's producing it, well, he's a great producer from the West Coast.
Yeah.
What the fuck were you expecting the album to be?
Producer
were you
for his
expecting
pops.
Game to make? Were you expecting Game to make Letter to the King, the Nas and Game record? You like? Is that what you were expecting? Because if that's what you were expecting, shut the fuck up and go sit down somewhere while we hoorah to this shit, Mike.
Dot with the super chat says Big Hit didn't need to be on this album. That's his pops. He did need to be on there. That's what made it surprising when I saw that they were gonna, you know what I'm saying, do that album together. And I thought it was one of those things that was coming in the upcoming weeks. But it's like, no, this shit's out now. And see, that's what I'm talking about. When you got people that could just drop albums on a dime and, like you said, make albums in a day, and even this Nas and Hit run, they're showing you, like, listen, man, people could put music out. And then you're looking at the guys who ain't came out in 6 years, 7 years now, A$AP Rocky, 7 years. Niggas done made 7 albums in 7 years, man.
I enjoyed the project, Mike. Great way to start the year.
Yeah. I
Great
feel,
way to start the year.
I feel really good about 2024, hip-hop wise, based on, you know, just hearing that for the first day. We know we got Benny on the way as well. I'm thinking Conway is going to come with something. I think Jay Skis and Love need to keep their foot on the gas.
Love and Che got an album coming.
Yep. That's going to be monsters.
JID
right
and
there.
Metro coming.
Yeah.
Common and Pete Rock supposed to be coming.
That ain't. Well, I believe that when I hear it.
J. Cole's coming.
I hope so. He has to. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Game blacked out on Ghostface's Drama on song on Apollo Kids album. Ghost let Game talk, take the mic and go for I felt like 3 minutes straight. Game can do that. That's the other thing.
Game is great.
Yeah.
Stop acting like he's some average rapper. He's
400
probably
bars
whoever
and
your favorite rapper is right now. It's like, how about this? Is he Black Thought or Nas or Cole on the mic? No. But if you think that, how about this? Like, you think Benny's that much better than Game? I don't.
I never said that. Yeah.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I never thought about it, but yeah, I'm like,
what do you think of? You think Benny's better than Game?
I don't know.
Exactly.
By what metric could I even say that? Like, I like
But
Benny.
think about the respect Benny gets as an MC out here.
Yeah.
That's that East Coast bias I be talking about.
Why
it's
do
like
people
Benny,
skip over the Game like this?
Well, what I'm saying is that, well, when Benny mostly spits like East Coast street shit. And he gets applauded as this great lyricist, which I think he is.
Yeah.
When Game spits this classic West Coast gangster shit, it's like, he alright. Like, no, that nigga better than alright.
We have been told what lyricism is in the realm of hip hop. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but I saw it a lot on the Hip Hop 50 stages where it was like, you had the down south stage, the West Coast stage, and then the hip hop stage is just the East Coast stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what does that say exactly? There is no East Coast stage. The hip hop stage is the East Coast stage.
Like, how about this? I'll go a step further for you. You think JID better than Game?
No. I mean, it's hard for me to even say that based on the work that's been put in. Like, I would say, like, if we want to talk about on some lyrical miracle bar for bar, maybe, but I think that, shit, Game could have out-rapped JID too. 400 bars and running.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, I think 50's a better overall artist. in a vacuum, but I don't think 50 is better than Game.
I could see that. 50's a better song maker than a
That's
lot
what I
of people.
mean.
Yeah.
He's better overall, but
He's witty on the mic, but yeah, if we just talk about straight up spitting and who can out rap who, I would have to go with Game on that too.
that's what I'm saying,
And
Mike.
50's
So it's
probably
like when
gonna
people,
diss us for saying that, but I'm just saying that, like, look, 50's a dope song maker, one of the best hook makers that we have in hip hop in general. But when is the last time 50 went out there and spazzed out on like 50 to 60 something bars straight?
well, this is why I'm telling you in a vacuum, it's like, oh no, if you're talking for like a 3 or 4 year period, give me 50. But for a career, give me Game. Game's catalog's better than 50's catalog.
It is.
He just doesn't have a get rich or die trying.
Not many people do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Mike, like it's not very many people do. It's like list the people who do. Raekwon, Nas, Snoop, everybody else is in a group.
Dr.
And,
Dre or
and Ray on
something.
some Wu-Tang shit. It's like really the only people that gotta get rich or die trying is Snoop with Doggy Style. If
Yeah.
you just want to talk about the album being great,
And
the
the
singles
impact.
being there, and the sales being there,
Yeah.
it's really only Doggy Style competing with Get Rich or Die Trying on that level.
No, that's facts. Mike H with the super chat says, Game the person has overshadowed Game the artist, and it's unfortunate. I feel the same way about T.I. I think they have a similar issue.
Y'all don't feel that way about that nasty bastard R. Kelly though. We were just talking about I Believe I Can Fly and shit.
I believe I can touch the sky.
Half on a baby with a baby. You mean nasty bastard?
I lost my train of thought.
So did R. Kelly, but we still be playing his shit. I was at a cookout, Mike. I was like, I thought we all got together and talked about this, that we wasn't doing this no more. And they was like, no, we got to separate the man from the music.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do that shit with Game, but we doing it for R. Kelly, sorry ass.
MJ with the
fuck
super
we
chat
talking
says, personality, likable, and who you're signed to matters. Being objective, if Game was signed to Rock Nation, he would be looked at as the West Coast Jay-Z. Huh. N. Simmons with the super chat says 50 is not even better than Lloyd Banks. Well, you know what? It's interesting, man. I don't know if you've seen a little bit of this Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp.
I actually watched some today.
I watched some of it today, too. That's what Game is. And that,
Oh, he's Cat Williams.
he doesn't play the game, quote unquote. He doesn't say all the right things. He spazzes out, rightfully so. And I think that is why he is not held up high in that light either, because he's kind of an outcast. I think they thought that he was going to be appeased by being a part of G Unit and getting those units there, but that didn't work. And once that ship didn't sell, then he was just reckless abandon. They left him out there to basically rot on Doctor's Advocate, to be honest.
And Doctor's Advocate is better than anything 50 ever made except Get Rich or Die Trying.
They didn't think he was going to be able to do that because Dr. Dre did nothing on there, right?
No, for real, Mike, they left him for dead musically.
Yeah. So they thought that, okay, we'll put out the documentary. We'll see if this nigga can make anything without us. And he did. And that says a lot about him.
I mean, and in a lot of ways, Mike, I feel that the Doctor's Advocate, I don't think it's better because it doesn't have the highs of the documentary, but it's a more concise project in the end than the documentary.
The Game thinks so. And I'm sure he's very proud of that album, too, because, like you
He
said, they
should
left
be.
him for dead.
It's one of the more triumphant albums in rap history if you actually know the story in regards to how he was cast off.
And they don't even speak about it. You would think that they would speak about the Doctor's Advocate in glowing terms because of what he endured in that time period, but they don't. And that lets you
Mike.
know they don't want Game to be spoken about in this industry.
Ooh, One Blood,
Yeah.
Compton, produced by will.i.am.
Mm-hmm.
Scream on 'Em, produced by Swiss. Wouldn't Get Far,
Yep.
produced by Kanye. The Scott Storch joint, All Around the World with Jamie Foxx.
Yep.
Why You Hate the Game with Nas, Just Blaze, Marsha Ambrosius.
That joint got some
Uh,
shit on it. Yeah.
Old English.
Yep.
The joint, I think it's just called Bang with Corrupt.
Black Wall Street. Yeah, I mean, Game
Yeah.
got heat, and he kept doing it too. And the
LAX
way that
got
he gets
Bulletproof.
overlooked is blaring. I agree with
LAX
somebody
got
saying
Bulletproof
that.
Diaries with Raekwon. Letter
Yeah.
to the King with Nas. Angel with Common. House of Pain. What's the joint on there with Keisha Cole? Games Pain.
Oh yeah,
No, he
that was
been.
a single.
Yeah, he been. Don't get me started on Jesus Piece. No, I feel like Jesus Piece.
Oh yeah,
Got here
Jesus
Ali
Pieces.
every week. Gotta
Yeah.
get Ali Boumaier every week.
I think Jesus Piece might be his second best album. His top three are very close.
I mean, how about this? His top 5 albums are better than anybody else's top 5 albums from the time he came out and they came out. Like that Rick Ross, T.I., Jeezy, Cole, Drake, Kendrick. His 5 best albums are better than all of their 5 best albums because his 5th best album's the shit, and their album isn't.
The only critique there, again, they're not solo missions in the way that, you know, some of his other counterparts.
The only one to be on a solo mission like that is Cole.
You don't think T.I. was on a solo mission like that? T.I. and the Game are very... Huh?
Like a T.I. album is going to have a lot of features on the second half of the project, just respectfully. And you know how I feel about Tip.
I think that T.I. is a better rapper than the Game. I would give him that.
Yes. Yes.
I think
Is Ross a better rapper? Is Ross better than the Game?
Jeez.
Is Jeezy better?
I don't think so.
I don't think either one of them are better rappers.
Yeah.
Ross is a better beat picker.
Yeah. Ross blends with the music. Like, he knows, he's a song maker in the way that 50 is. Well,
Yes.
he ain't got the hook game like 50, but you know what I mean. He knows
Very
how to
few
make it
people have.
work.
Very few people have hook game like 50.
Nah, 50's hook game is elite. Is he top 5 when it comes to hooks?
I was immediately went the Method Man in my mind when you said
I did
it, so
too.
yes.
What do you think about Wayne when it comes to hooks?
He's not 50 or Method Man.
I don't know, man. He got Duffel Bag Boy.
Wayne has moments where
got-
he reaches their level, but they live on that level.
He got Bling Bling. He got Red Nation.
I like Bling Bling.
Yeah. No,
Every
Wayne is
summer,
a... Yeah, Wayne's hook game is pretty heavy. I like Red Nation. No blood the fuck
You
up.
like Red Nation, that's what I'm saying, Mike, but that's not a hook that like people know like that. That's why he's not on Meth and 50's level, like with the hook
Well,
shit.
Method Man's something different. Yeah, 50's hook game on Get Rich or Die Trying alone is special.
That might be
special.
the best, Mike, for one album, that might be best hook game ever for one album by a solo rapper.
You got What Up Gangsta. Boom. Patiently Waiting. I don't even like that song, but the hook is memorable. It is what
Many
it is.
Men,
Many Men. In the club.
Poor Lil Rich.
High all the
Bob
time.
Dylan,
Yeah.
21 Questions, Like My Style,
Back Down.
Back Down.
This is
Heat.
all him.
It's all
Wankster.
him.
Wankster. Like, this is all him.
Wanks, yeah, no, Mike.
He didn't
for one
even-
album.
He
did
didn't
all
even
the
really
hooks.
need Nate Dogg on 21 Questions, but he did it.
He didn't need him at all.
Yeah.
Could have kept that $250,000 he probably paid Nate, kept it in his pocket. He didn't need Nate Dogg to sing that shit.
PIMP.
Like I said, for
Yeah.
one album, hook game, 50's the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what made Get Rich or Die Trying so great. Like, he brought those songs together with brilliant hooks. Many men wish death upon me.
That's why
Love
when
in
people
my
talk
dog and
about-
I can't see.
That's why when people talk about other folks having the in the club beat, like Rakim and D12, it's like, yeah, I feel you, but it ain't about the beat. It's him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It was pity.
they wouldn't have done to that track what he did to that track.
It's crazy.
It might not even been a single. We don't even know. I'm sorry. I hear the rumors and the stuff that they try to say and the stories. That track wasn't going to nobody but 50.
No. Rakim really had that beat, Mike.
You think Rakim was really going to keep that?
No. I mean, what I'm saying is he had it in his palms, though.
Oh, no. He had it. But I think ultimately, you know, You know how the Interscope machine work. They're gonna get the right people the right track. It's like that Still DRE situation. That song was gonna happen.
Like California Love.
Yeah, that song was
Like,
gonna
no.
happen.
Not
Yeah.
your song for your album anymore. Tupac's out.
I think
Tupac did.
Interscope might be the greatest hip hop label ever.
They are.
I mean, Def Jam is historically, but as far as like success and knowing how to put together albums and efforts, Interscope is tough to
Told
beat.
you they're the Corleone family.
Yeah, they don't fail.
You gotta
And-
make sure they don't fail.
In every era, they got somebody. Whether it's Dre, whether it's Snoop, whether it's Pac, whether it's Eminem, whether it's 50, whether it's Game, whether it's Kendrick, they got somebody.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know
They're
who's
gonna be around.
next.
They're gonna be here. They're gonna be right here.
I guess they still got
right here.
they still got Anderson .Paak, but I don't really know what Anderson .Paak is. He's kind of a hybrid.
Ooh, Soulmatic man hit me with something. He said Game versus 50 Cent Station Head.
Shit.
I'll let you take 50 and I'll be the underdog. I'll take Game.
Is that the underdog though? Because Game got a lot to choose.
For 20 songs. For 20 songs.
For 20 songs.
It's 50.
I'll take
I mean,
50.
because you have Get Rich or Die Trying, so you have about 12 of the 20 right there. So yeah, Game's the
I'll take
underdog.
50. And I got
I like-
G-Unit stuff too.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Popping Them Things. Mike, that's another Dre beat I could have hit you with. I thought about playing Popping Them Things
You
on your
should've.
ass.
You should have played that.
Mike, that's my whole point. I didn't need to pull out stuff like that. I was thinking about pulling out the Out of Control shit on you. I was like, I don't even need to do this. I don't need to do this.
Nigga,
I don't
I
need
was
to go to
just-
these steps.
I was just about to talk about Out of Control. That's
That-
it.
Out of
Like how you
Control is
feel
Out of
about that
Control.
Primo beat with the Game. Out of Control is Dre's last great beat to me. That remix was insane.
Shit was crazy.
Yeah, he's different. Shit. Nobody's making stuff like that. Yeah. Now, I
Dre
give
coming
Dre
through the
that.
speakers is different.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Mike, it's interesting that y'all keep using Doggy Style and Get Rich or Die Trying as the barometer for classic solo albums. To Coop's producer point, who's the common denominator for both projects? I don't know, Interscope? The Good Doctor. The greatest producer in hip-hop history.
Right.
Yeah.
Kanye got just as many shelved albums as Dr. Dre.
Shit, Kanye just ain't putting stuff out. Kanye, you're making me look crazy right now, man.
No, Kanye's making Kanye look crazy.
Put
right
that
now.
Vultures
Mike,
out, bro.
It's not coming, Mike.
You know,
Told you.
this is
Mike, what did I tell you? I told you we may never hear that Freddie Gibbs verse again. I wasn't joking.
and I'm gonna keep it consistent because I've said this about Kendrick, and I even said this about Benny's latest project, or the one that's on the way. When you keep pushing stuff back, it makes me feel like, as a listener, that you're unsure. And Kanye's been doing this, honestly, since Life of Pablo. Because even with Life of Pablo, he was like changing around the songs and, you know what I'm saying, in the order. I don't know if that was mostly an act or just to stir up a buzz. But at this point, I feel like he's not confident in the stuff that he's putting down.
Because it's not like that, Mike.
He's got to make
Been
something
trying to
that's like
play.
that. You know, I think he took the time period of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy for granted. Because at that time, he knew he could turn it on and turn it off. It's kind of like what Boston Celtics used to do. You know, they would play just good enough to get into the playoffs. But when they got in the playoffs, they would turn it on. LeBron does that a lot too. I think that Kanye felt like, yeah, I can experiment. But when I need to turn it on, I can turn it on and be Kanye and make a classic album on a whim. He can't do that now. Like, he can't press that lever anymore, and I think it's messing with him.
I think it's messing with you more than it's messing with him.
You don't think he cares? Ill Magic with the super chat says,
I don't think he can. I tried. Okay, so here's the thing about it. And I love Kanye. I really, really do. He's a game changer, Mike. He's an icon. He's all these things. His classic stuff is not as classic as people think that it is. Because when you put it up against other classic stuff, it's like, nah. It's like, Mike, I played They Reminisce Over You today, and I was like, Man, he don't have one record close to this.
Ooh.
Not one.
Not a lot of people do, though. That's not fair.
But you get what I'm saying? But Dr. Dre does. But RZA does. But Primo does. Marley Marl does. I played the symphony today. I'm like, oh, no. Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane killed this shit because this beat was like that. Like that.
I don't know, man. I see what you're saying. Yeah, those are quintessential hip hop classics.
Right.
And I think it's the drums, though. It's the drums driving things. And if there's any Achilles heel for Kanye, it's the drums. So that could prevent him from making when they reminisce.
This is hip hop, though, Mike. That's pretty big if drums are your Achilles heel. That's what I'm saying.
And I wouldn't say Achilles heel in a sense where like he can't do drums, but his drums aren't as strong as his counterparts. Is his drums Pete Rock's drums? No. Is his drums Dilla's drums? No. Q-Tip's drum? No.
Havoc?
Dre? No. Havoc? No. Yeah.
He called Havoc in for some drums on Pablo.
Yeah. He called Timbaland in for some drums on Stronger. Ill Magic with the super chat says Clippers and Phoenix play tonight. I know Coop can't wait to see the Clippers clip the Suns.
Well, hold on. KD may not play because KD's dealing with a pulled hamstring and didn't play the last game, so KD may not play.
He ain't gonna play. Come on, KD.
He missed the last game. He missed the last game because of hamstring soreness. So, and I wouldn't advise him to pull his hamstring for a team that ain't going anywhere. So, it's not like if he was playing Minnesota or OKC. OKC is on fire right now. Like if he was going back to OKC, I'd be like, no, you need to play. You need to beat them because they beating everybody right now. They didn't beat Denver. They done beat Minnesota. They just beat the Celtics. They just beat the three best teams in the league. But it's like for the Clippers, for creaky knees, for frauding, it's like, nah, fam. Get you some rest.
Oh, man. See, I don't like that. This is a primetime game. The Clippers are primetime.
It's the Clippers. It's not that primetime. What I keep trying to express to you is that it's not primetime because those guys aren't primetime like that. They're not worth your hamstrings.
Kanye is an innovator. Of course, he's a game changer. I think his strongest suit, though, is the fact that he's able to work with artists in ways that not a lot of his hip-hop producer counterparts are. I mean, that's his gift.
Hit Boy's agility is very Kanye-like.
It is. And his ability to adapt and to really inspire the artist. I think that's the intangible thing about Hit Boy and Kanye. You could hear that they're inspiring artists when they're working together. And I don't know if niggas in the studio hyping people up. Swizz is great at that. I'm not a huge Swizz Beatz fan, like track for track, but I will give Swizz that. I think Swizz can really sell an artist on a beat and get them amped up to go in there and do their thing on a high level. He inspires artists. Who's another one that inspires artists? I would say Kanye, Swizz. Who do we say before? Kanye, Swizz, Hit Boy. I think Premier inspires artists in a different way. They know what the standard is, rhyming over a Premier track, so they're going to bring it.
I think, see, here's what happened, and here's what makes Illmatic special, is that I think Nas created a standard for lyrics on a Primo beat because of the three records on Illmatic. Right. Because New York State of Mind, Memory Lane, and Represent, this is no disrespect to Guru, because you know I love me some Guru. Rest in peace. Oh, ain't nobody rapped over a Primo track like that till Nas did. And so the standard was those three tracks from Illmatic. And Big followed it right up with Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the one. It was on from there.
I think that's the one. I think Big's Unbelievable opened the floodgates, but like you said, Unbelievable doesn't happen without Illmatic. So
no, yeah. Biggie literally said, I need some of that Primo shit that he gave Nas on Illmatic.
Because Unbelievable got Premier in the club.
It did.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but also too, it spoke to Premier's versatility because he gave Nas that classic New York feel. And this is what's special about Big, and I got some stuff that I want to talk about before we get out of here. Mm-hmm. but he knew Big's voice was so different from Nas's voice that he had to give Big something heavier beat-wise than he was giving the Nas because of the bass and the heaviness of Big's voice. And that's what makes Unbelievable so beautiful is that like, oh, you can do Memory Lane and New York State of Mind and represent. Those are piercing beats. You want to know how the beats are piercing? Because the artist that's rapping on them has a piercing voice.
Mm-hmm.
This nigga has a heavy baritone, and it's like Sasquatch feet when he raps.
Yep.
Boom.
Loud from Beppa
And so the beat goes boom, 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 boom. It beats the way his voice beats.
You're right.
Hard. And that's where Primo separated himself and became special.
Yeah, he's not just randomly making beats and giving them.
Yeah, he ain't like take this beat tape.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because even when you listen to like 1,000,001, that's
for
tailored.
Jay.
Yeah.
That's for Jay.
The Evils. That's for Jay.
I could hear Biggie rapping over the Evils.
The Evils is crazy, man.
The Evils is crazy.
It
that's
really
what I'm saying. But by the time like by the time the summer of '96 is over, Preem is goated.
So, all right, let's just say this. What if we were doing like a Premier and Dr. Dre song for song matchup? The Evils gets played and Murder Was the Case gets played. What happens? What's the better song? My gut tells me Murder Was the Case, but the Evils is brilliant.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah, like, but the Evils is brilliant. It's one of Jay's best songs.
I wouldn't play the Evils against Murder Was the Case. I would probably play Unbelievable.
I don't know.
I think the beat the Unbelievable is better than the beat the Murder Was the Case.
I don't know about that. Black Wealth and Power, says Kanye is like that, Coop. Name a better trilogy than Kanye's College trilogy. Ye was classic then. Yeah, I guess, when you think about classic Ye, yeah, the first 3 albums, you wouldn't say those are classic through and through?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love those 3 albums. Like, hey, don't get it twisted. How about this? Kanye got a better catalog than all these niggas we talking about, even for all this shit that I done talked. Let's not get it twisted, because his 4 best albums, who cares what album number 5 is? He's got those first 3, and he's got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's better than Jay's best 4 albums.
Yeah, it is. It's just after you continue on, Mitch with the super chat says, Ye doesn't like to use drums because he wants the pop fan audience and they don't care about drums like the hip hop audience does. Is that what it is?
So let me flip the game on you though, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, when I play New York State of Mind, what are you playing from Dre?
New York State of Mind. I mean, I would hate to pull out a Big Joker and go.
You have to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe G-Thing.
I was about to say you have to play Deep Cover to beat New York State of Mind.
Yeah, I think Deep Cover beats New York State of Mind.
But look at what you have to play to beat it, though.
Yeah, no. Premier is tough. And honestly, we were going for the song for song matchup, man. I don't know if I would have been able to beat Premier with Kanye's catalog.
Preem and RZA hard to beat.
Oh, RZA's definitely hard to beat. I think I would beat you with RZA's catalog if you had Preem.
I do too.
Yeah. What about RZA and Dre?
To be honest with you, I think RZA's the one that really gives Dre more run than anybody.
Because I think what Dre has over RZA is the hits.
Well, here's the thing. It's like if you were to play something like Murder Was the Case, I would play shadow boxing and be like, yeah.
Yeah, you could be confident in that.
What?
What if I play in the club or something?
I play Incarcerated Scarfaces.
Is that a good mix?
It's a better beat than In the Club. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's like I have actual beats that I can play where I can actually look at you and be like, nah, I think this beat I got's better.
I might
That's
not
what
even
I'm saying.
play In the
Like, if you
Club
play-
against RZA.
Like if you played something like how about this? You play Let Me Ride? I'm playing like Shimmy Shimmy Ya. I can beat you. I can beat you. I can beat you. It's hard to say that about. It's hard to say that about classic Dre stuff.
It's hard, man,
'Cause
because those are, I don't know, man. Let Me Ride's tough.
You think it's better than Shimmy Shimmy Ya? Are you certain?
I'm
You
not
see how
certain.
you pause?
I'm not certain
That's what
because I
RZA
love
keeps
Shimmy
doing.
Shimmy Ya. I do.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I love both of those records. I think both of those records are top of the top from those respected artists for me. People saying
Right.
Twins is better than Deep Cover. Do you subscribe to that? That
Fuck
Fat
no.
Joe and Big Pun's version is better than Snoop and Dre?
Do you see the look on my face?
I think this is where I'm gonna go with that. You know, Pun
East
was
Coast.
Pun was
I say East Coast
extremely impressive on there, but I think after you get past the first two verses, that intensity's not the same. Like after he does that, I rub your face off the earth and curve your family's children like Amityville and drill the nerves in your cavity, feeling insanity's building a pavilion in my civilian. And can it be the energy that humanity's building? It's like he doesn't do that the whole song. And obviously the, you know, Deader Than Little Italy, diddle did he know that he riddled the middleman who didn't do diddly. The song's kind of over after that. Like it really is.
I mean, here's what people don't really understand about Deep Cover. That's more of a Snoop solo record than a back and forth record.
It is.
Right.
Tonight's the night. I get in some shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that the regular Deep Cover just is more cinematic.
It is. But here's what I'm saying. After that first verse, it's really Snoop's record.
It is.
And so trying to do like, it doesn't have the back and forth that Twins have because, well, quite frankly, Dr. Dre realized it's like, oh, I found me another Ice Cube. I'm going to let this nigga rap.
Well, Snoop is telling a story on there, too. They're not telling stories on Twins.
Right.
You know? OG Winston with the
But
super
you gotta
chat
sell
says,
dope for us.
yeah. Like he's actually going into the movie in the storyline. So yeah, I think the regular Deep Cover is a better song. Twins has splashes.
I mean, let's keep it real. Mike, the only people that think Twins is better than Deep Cover are all from New York.
I knew you were gonna go there. OG Winston.
Nobody outside the five boroughs believes that shit. I don't even know if like the niggas in Poughkeepsie and fucking Ithaca and fucking Rochester and Buffalo believe that shit. Like,
you think that on the West Coast they bumping Twins over Deep Cover?
Mike, I didn't hear Twins one time while I was out in Cali. You better stop that. Ain't nobody playing no damn Twins in Cali.
OG Winston with the super chat says, nah, for real, a game and 50 verses would be flames. I'm down to do it.
I'm down to do it.
I love 50's
I'll be the
catalog.
underdog since you've been feeling like you've been getting underdog status with this whole Kanye thing.
Well, I'm the one that talked up the Kanye thing, both against Jay and Dre. So,
Told you that was crazy.
yeah, you know, I wanted to put it to the test, though. What
That's
did
cool.
you have in your notes before we get out of here?
So I was thinking hip hop just celebrated its 50th year, and this is year number 51. And so I think this should be the year, 2024, should be the digging in the crates year, where we really go back and really like research and appreciate this history properly. And so I went to my old school bag these past few days,
Okay.
and I literally went back to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, which is where I've been. First of all, I don't always agree with what Melly Mel says, as in almost never.
I do, but yeah, go ahead.
But I do understand where he's coming from, because listen to what I'm about to say. I'm about to hit you with some hot takes, Mike. Melly Mel is not as far ahead of the curve as Rakim is, but he is ahead of the curve.
He's very far.
And quite frankly, he's better than every MC that came along until Rakim came along.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know why he feels that way.
Yeah.
Because As great as Cool Mo D, Run, DMC, LL, they're not Mel on the mic, Mike. They're not. It's
Grandmaster
not
Cass.
Kaz. They're not. They're not fucking with Mel. And so Rakim is the guy that came along that changed things. But we also need to be careful to not forget that Melly Mel was ahead of this curve first, and that Rakim upped the curve that Melly Mel created.
You're right.
And because Melly Mel, when I went back and listened to the message, like the album,
Spit
Game's crazy. This is
Yeah.
1980.
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy.
he
So
was
not quite-
the best
not quite-
rapper walking around. And imagine what that feels like when rap is a new genre and you're the best rapper walking around New York City.
So he's not 10 years ahead of the curve like Rakim is, but he's 5 years ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think of what's before him. Sugar Hill Gang. Like,
So-
yeah, he's a big step up.
Mike, the White Line sample that Havoc used for Quiet Storm
Yeah.
is the best sample taken in hip hop history ever.
Oh. That
Because the
I
fact
like
that he took White Lines and made it into Quiet Storm. When I listen to White Lines today, and first of all, if you haven't heard White Lines, guess what White Lines is about? It's about the crack epidemic before the crack epidemic actually takes place. That's what I mean about Melly Mel being ahead of the curve. But my takeaway when I heard the bass line over again, because I haven't listened to White Lines in years, literally, I was like, man, Havoc freaked this sample better
did.
than any hip hop producer has ever freaked one sample.
that do 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 do. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Because he took that shit and dropped it down and slowed it down and made it. It's almost like if
Yeah.
you don't know your rap history, you would forget that that record even existed and you would think it's Havoc shit.
And you know, we always talk about Shook One's Part 2, as we should.
It's Quiet Storm.
As we should, but Quiet Storm is extremely impressive too. That's right, you're not a big Shook One's fan like the rest of us.
No, I am. It's just I feel like Quiet Storm is comparable to Shook One's Part 2. And every time I say that to people, I'm like, people are like, are you fucking bugging, Coop? And I'm like, you're just talking about Prodigy's verse. That's one of the best verses ever.
You know,
The
when
song as a whole isn't as epic as people say. Prodigy's verse is like that. That's a top 10 verse all time.
one of my favorite samples, since you want to talk about freaking a loop or whatnot, I love what was done with Made You Look.
Yes, that would probably
Like,
be number 2.
that
But
was
it's not
crazy.
White Lines
Yeah.
because here's the
Salam
thing.
Remy, shout out to you, sir.
Salah freaked the loop, but he didn't freak it the way Havoc did. Like Havoc changed the pattern, changed the bass line, took the bass down lower, made it more of a background. Like White Lines, the original version, it's up in your face. Like he took it low, but he made it just as great and actually greater. Like the Apache break loop doesn't change that much on Made You Look. You know what I'm saying?
Jermaine Johnson
Mike.
with the super chat says, the factual storytelling in real-time nature of Murder Was the Case makes that song incredibly special. We witnessed it live. It's nearly unbeatable.
That's fair. Mike,
Matt,
a lot of people
go ahead.
forget that the song The Message has Duke on it.
Yeah.
2 verses from Mel and 2 verses from Duke. Mel's got the first verse and the fourth verse. Duke's got the middle 2 verses. Listen to what I'm about to say, Mike. Voice and charisma have always mattered because the way history tells it, you would think that Melly Mel was the only dope rapper in the crew, but he had the better voice than Duke.
I love Duke's verses. Bill collectors
Duke's
that
verses-
call my
listen.
phone, scare my wife when I'm not home.
Right.
But he said that
Look.
double-digit inflation is a strike at the station. Like, you know, he was going in.
Mike, Snoop's line from
Yeah.
2 of America's Most Wanted. I got my hand on my gun because they got me on the run. That's Duke's part. That's not Mel.
I
Okay?
like the street sweeper part. I love the what do you say? So is on back again. That I mean, like, no, Duke's
No,
verses
listen.
are dope.
Duke's going crazy on there. So this is why I want to bring up. This is one. Mike, we spent a lot of the last year talking about how voice matters. It always mattered
Yeah.
because Mel's voice is greater than Duke's. It gets drowned out. And also, too, Mike, Mel was the more charismatic guy with the more memorable lines because what I realized is that bar work-wise, they were actually comparable. But Mel did one thing on there that Duke didn't do. Don't push me, cause I'm
Yeah.
close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
Well, all
That's
right.
it. That's the separation.
Now that you mentioned that though, it's interesting. They both had two totally different approaches, right? Like the approach in the early '80s was you're gonna have to almost yell. You know what I'm saying? Duke was doing what Rakim ended up doing, where he was chill
Correct.
with it. Where
Correct.
Melly Mel was like, "Nah, I got to bring the energy."
Right. Mel had the heavier voice.
Yeah, he did.
And the more recognizable voice. And he used that to his advantage. And you hear it on that record. And also, too, when we talk about 10 greatest rap songs of all time, the message still deserves to be mentioned in there. And we have to be more cognizant of it. It's still up there.
Oh, I'm always cognizant of it. I mean, there's nothing before it. To me, it's the first, I mean, I say this respectfully, it's the first hip hop record we get. Where it's like it has its own sound.
Like, look, our first hip hop moment is still one of our top 10 moments, and that's the message. Shout out to Mel, shout out to Duke.
For sure.
Mike, the beat break at the end to Rebel Without the Pause is the same beat break on Lyrics of Fury, which comes from The Funky Drummer by James Brown.
Yep.
Everybody was thinking the same shit. It's literally the same exact loop. They didn't change it at all. Lyrics of Fury and the end of Rebel Without a Pause is the same fucking break loop, which is James Brown's The Funky Drummer. James Brown invented modern day hip hop.
Oh yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, I want to do a Public Enemy station head. I want to do Public Enemy against somebody.
well, here's what I was about to say, Mike. These are some of my thoughts, and I'm almost finished. Public Enemy is the world's most dangerous rap group, not NWA.
Oh, for sure.
When Rebel Without a Pause came on today, I was like, it's not even there. This might not even be a top 5 record from them.
A lot of people feel like it is, but I feel you.
But the fact that you could make that argument, and then it made me realize It Takes a Nation of Millions is the best rap album to come out in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to put it ahead of Paid in Full. I've always thought it was Paid in Full of the Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. It's It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Now, it's just such a complete body of work. Now, it's a team effort in a sense where you feel like, you know, Paid in Full is a solo mission, but you could say that it's a solo mission on Chuck's end too. I don't know, but that collective, you hear all of the hands that are involved in It Takes a Nation, and that's what makes it so grand. That's tough to compete with.
I have two more comments, and then we can get out of here.
Hold on, let me get these super chats real quick. Mad Max says, what Rakim did was what Kool Moe Dee did. Rakim took Moe Dee's multi-rhyming, and upped it. We never give Moe Dee credit. KC1 with the super chat says, I already told you Volume 2 is the most overrated album. We do give Moe Dee credit, but I think that LL thing took away some things, you know?
And Moe Dee's not better than Mel, but I hear you.
That's a good one. I agree with you, though.
That's why I'm telling you. Melly Mel, until Rakim shows up, is the greatest MC of all time.
I got you. I'm with you on that. I mean,
until Rakim
Moe Dee
shows
was
up,
tough,
Mel.
though.
Yeah.
Mo was number 2.
Mo number 2.
Yeah.
Mike, The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick is the only rap album that has 3 of the 50 greatest rap songs on it. It's the only one.
You don't think Paid in Full?
There's not 3 top. No, because when I thought about it, Mike, it's like Mona Lisa came on, and I was just like, nah, you can't fuck with this. We already know what Children's Story is.
Yep. And then you got Hey Young World.
Yeah.
Now, I would say on Paid in Full, you got Paid in Full. You got I Ain't No Joke, and Eric B. is President.
See, I don't think I Ain't No Joke would register the 50 the way that those 3 Slick Rick songs does.
Okay.
I think I Ain't No Joke is my favorite song on Paid in Full, but objectively speaking, no, Hey Young World, Mona Lisa, Children's Story.
My Melody? I know you got Soul.
More important than it is quality enough to make the list. I know You Got Soul's better than My Melody to me. Yeah. Here's my last thought, Mike. It Ain't No Half Stepping by Big Daddy Kane is the best Mike performance of the 80s.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
If we're just talking bar for bar, on a song, because like I said, Mike, there's not a song that great and that notarized that was actually a single with
Right.
that type of bar work for 4 verses, Mike. So for the people that thought Kane was better than Rakim, Ain't No Half Steppin' is that claim to fame, because it's like, is it lyrically better than Follow the Leader? I don't think so. But is it a better song than Follow the Leader? Yes, it is. Ain't No Half
Lyrics
Steppin's a
of
better song
Fury.
than Follow the Leader.
Lyrics
And
of-
Microphone Fiend.
Yo, somebody mentioned The Rhyme Goes On. I saw somebody in the chat too before we get out of here. They said if we interview Big Boy, that'd be epic. Could do that. Big Boy, holla at us. We're gonna holla at you, man. I would love to
He's
talk
down,
to
I'm
Big
down.
Boy.
What do you think about my Ain't No Half Steppin' claim, Mike?
I see what you're coming from when it comes to, like you said, it being a single. I would say Lyrics of Fury, but Lyrics of Fury is not a banger like Ain't No Half
It's not a
Step.
top. How about this?
And it's
This is
not
what
4
I mean.
verses either.
That's what I mean. It's 4 verses, Mike, and it's a single, and it's not like he's like a hip to hop. No. He's up there
No, he's spitting. What do you
tearing
think
the
about
microphone apart, Mike.
what do you think about what Biz did in the 80s? Because make the music with your mouth and what's the other one I'm thinking about? Not the Vapors. Make the music. Oh, Nobody Beats the Biz.
No, I love all those records. Biz is a time in hip hop when hip hop was getting real serious. Biz was still fun, and the game still needed that.
I think Biz is very important for Marley. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think Marley gave Biz some of his best stuff. That Nobody Beats the Biz beat is crazy.
Yeah.
That shit is crazy.
To this day, it's crazy. It's still one of the best beats ever.
It is. I mean, Q-Tip and those guys flipped that sample a million ways.
Yeah.
I'm down to wreck your body and say turn the party out. Okay, so
I see people putting stuff. It's like, no, I love DLC on the formula. That's not Ain't No Half Steppin'. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like, no, Ain't No Half Steppin' is the standard for bars on a single in the 80s.
I love
Because here's the
DLC,
thing.
but he's not
Like
Kane.
the bar work on Eric B as president is not better than the bar work on Ain't No Half Steppin'.
No, it's not. You can tell it's a few years before it, but it's something about that feel on Eric B as president. I can only imagine what it was like never hearing somebody rhyme like that to that level in '86 and then hearing that for the first time.
Yeah. Kane's Ain't No Half Steppin' is just, it's a one of one record, Mike. It is. Ain't nothing like it.
You know, LL with Jingling Baby is, it reminds me of Ain't No Half Steppin'.
Ain't No Half Steppin's better.
I think so too. Ain't No Half Step is the top 50 hip hop song.
I was actually thinking it might be higher. It might, I don't know if it's top 10, but it might be top 20, Mike. It's like that. It's like that.
I know we put
Like, go
together.
Ain't No Half Steppin' again and like be like, oh, this is why people thought that he might be better than Rakim. It's like, no, I can see why people felt that way. They don't have enough evidence. But
Let me ask you a tricky question before we get out of here. Do you think that if you got, let's just say, a neutral generation, and you played Ain't No Half Steppin' and you played Lil Wayne's A Milli, whose song are they picking?
oh, they're picking Ain't No Half Steppin', Mike.
Think so?
Because you can dance to Ain't No Half Steppin'. That's what I'm saying is it's like, it does some of everything. It's got the bars that you want. If you're a hip hop head, it's got a melody that you can dance to. It's got a hook that's catchy. The dude is charismatic. The cadence and the flow and the delivery is like on time. It's some of everything. It's not as lyrically precise as the Follow the Leader stuff, like the record Follow the Leader, Lyrics of Fury, and Microphone Fiend. Are those songs lyrically better? Yes. But is it better overall as a record? It's like, I don't know. That's why I said mic performance, as in like all the things.
I love doing the 80s dig, man. You know, it's something about the energy of 80s hip hop that's just different. I don't know if it's the drums. It might be it, man, because there was a lot of drum sampling going on in the 80s and early 90s too, but those songs just sound big. They sound like stadium music before we declared stadium music. And maybe that's because Run DMC kind of set it off. because they made
I was actually
stadium
about to say,
music.
Mike, I heard Sucker MCs today, and Run DMC has definitely a lot to do with that. I told you I'm making this a digging in the crates here. I want to get into like the actual history this year,
Yeah.
and start sharing my thoughts about pieces of the history. So today was my thoughts from like what I've heard the last few days, from going back and listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's album, and pretty much I set my algorithm to that album, and so everything that spun off from that was what is the stuff that I'm talking about: the Slick Rick stuff,
Yeah.
the Kane stuff. Sucker MCs coming on, like all that. Mike, and this is how I know James Brown invented hip hop. In the middle of all the algorithm, The Big Payback came on by James Brown.
Of course.
Like, he didn't invent this shit.
He's the architect.
He's the architect of hip hop.
I remember seeing Run DMC at Birthday Bash here in Atlanta. Like it's like year 2000 or whatever. And this is when Jam Master Jay was still touring with him and everything. And I was just so impressed at like 17, 18 years old of how well their stuff came through the speakers. Because the local acts and the acts that were out currently, their shit didn't come through the speakers like Run DMC shit did. It didn't.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Mad Max with a super chat. We'll get out of here. He says, set it off is better than ain't no half stepping. And on that note, peace, guys. We appreciate the awards. We appreciate you guys, tapping
Much
in with us as always.
I'm gonna pull up on them.
Yeah. All right, hold on. We got to say this too, because I know you were saying this in another show. When are we going to do that Fresh Out Rap Roundtable A2HH Live, I guess, roundtable discussion for the people? Because I think that's very interesting.
No, I'll put that together. I'll reach out tonight.
Yeah, let's put that together. And maybe we can all do maybe a 2023 wrap-up or whatever the plan is.
Yeah, or 2024 like forecast. Do both.
Yeah.
Or just have a rapping ass rap conversation with everybody like in the fold.
And see where it goes.
Right. Get everybody's thoughts. We're probably gonna have to put each other on timers. Mostly my black ass, but
I'll be the moderator.
That's cool.
All right,
and
y'all.
Remember.
All right.
No half stepping.
Hit like and subscribe. All of that. We're gonna talk to y'all later.